Blog Talk Radio.
Where you gonna run? Where you gonna hide?
Dynastic period said there must be a 26th dynastic period. Only way to get there is for Africans from around the world who care about our people, who hate our enemies, are willing to kill and destroy. To get there, they gotta climb this mountain and go back to their ancestors. White man, let me shoot you. White man, let me shoot you. It ain't nothing like an Uncle Tom
I shall be the same. In death I shall be a terror. Look for me in a world when I was armed. Look for me all around you. For it's God's grace I shall come as a countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life.
Y'all ready for this? It's race war, the final solution. This ain't what's the problem. This ain't what's been going on for the last 6,000 years. This ain't can we find some justice. This ain't how we can come to the middle and make some kind of agreement or something.
You ain't got no way out, white folks.
I'm swear to you, I am white Christ. I'm engaged to this revolution, and our lives is white.
Welcome to the battlefield.
My ancestors woke me up this morning. They say, son, you do know what time it is, don't you? I say, what time is that? They said it's war time. So welcome to the battlefield, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the war front. That's a new little mix draft of some African insurrection music. A new album that's going to be coming out. Can't give you a date or time, but just a little hint of the kind of feel we bring in the spirit of Brother Dr. Amos Wilson back up and bringing that spirit, keeping it alive with us, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad and Brother Garvey. So I'm just getting a message here from my one of my hosts. They misread the time. The time's from 7 to 10, but we got one of them on live with us. So we're gonna go ahead and start our program shortly. But that was it's called Welcome to the Battlefield. Just a little EP that's out now. Actually, this is a single. Just something to just tune into and enjoy. Hope you enjoyed hearing that strong spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. We gotta wrap back around and get some Steve Coakley in it. We gotta get some, we gotta get a little everybody. Get a little Fannie Lou Haim up in there. Get some Sister Soldier. Put that energy out to keep the ancestors alive and keep that warrior spirit flowing through our veins. Get a little Steve Biko in there. Heard a little Zulu chants in there. I don't know if y'all caught all that, but just a little fun. Remembering what it is this is all about. It's about African survival and African development and the future of our race. I want to remind brothers and sisters, we got Straight Black Pride coming up. And I know initially we said it was going to be $30 for membership. Membership starting in August. But there were certain things that we wanted in place by the time we started taking memberships. I don't think that dues. I don't think we're not going to have our social network ready by that time. We may have the website up, but so the dues may go back a little further. That's a good thing. And the dues, we may figure out how we do it. We may end up doing it only the dues directly to the chapter, so it may reduce the amount. So we're figuring all that out now. So okay, good. I got my other hosts online now as well. So fantastic. Got my other host on, so we got both of our brothers. So I do want to tell people, remind people, brothers and sisters, the reason we're able to do this, the white folks got rid of me. You know how that works. The devil did that. The way we're able to continue to do this work, myself, my wife, my children, is because of you all. And we have people that have given and give on a regular basis every month. So we really, really love our supporters, and we thank y'all so much. We really love y'all and appreciate you, because without you, this forum wouldn't exist. Straight Black Pride wouldn't exist because it hasn't generated any money yet. It's myself, my wife putting in to make it happen, and those that are contributing to us. Without your contributions, none of it would exist. We need actually more. And the reason is because I can't turn off the contributing to build something that's going to save our people. So I'm putting out everything. I'm not putting too much in the house here. And my wife can only do so much before she tries to strangle me and choke me to death. So in order for us to keep afloat, once we get this Straight Black Pride thing moving, it's not going to work. We're going to build some industry. The things that we're working on, I'm not even telling y'all half the stuff. I promise you, I'm not, y'all know the irritated genie. I don't just be saying stuff. It may take longer than you think or I think, but you always see it come up. I say it, you see it happen. You know, I'm not just saying things to be saying them. We really are working on things, really big things that you're going to love, economic things that are going to change the landscape of not just this country, but for African people. And that's not just talk. I can't tell you a lot about these things, but what I can say is we are serious. With that said, we need some more people to give. Some people give $100 a month, come right out of their check, come right to us. Some people give $20 a month. Whatever you can give to us is going to help us continue what we're doing. I hope you look through and see the work that we're doing. How do we do a Straight Black Pride tour to Uganda? Because of your support. How do we doing it? We're doing a new one coming up. It's going to be $3,250 next week. We'll talk about the tour to Uganda, Straight Black Pride tour, how much it's going to be, what you're going to get, what you're going to see. We're going to ask everybody to look at the video so you have an idea what you want to ask. But all these things are possible because of you. So what I want people to do, please send us an email at liberation@waronthehorizon.com if you're interested in being a War on the Horizon supporter, a donator on a regular basis. Some people do it when they can, and they go give it to us through PayPal at liberation@waronthehorizon.com. But we really need people to step up. I've been trying to do it with what we have, but we really need to step it up because we're not just doing a radio program and Straight Black Pride. We have some youth program types of things that we're trying to work on. We have some big economic platforms we're trying to build for African people. We got a lot of stuff that we're working on that I promise you, it won't be that much longer that you'll be able to start seeing the ramifications. You've already seen, for those of you who've seen the Straight Black Pride tour to Uganda, you've seen what that we're doing it, not just talking it. And things are really, really, really going well. We just need more financial support. So we'd like you to do it. If you're already giving, we're not asking you to increase because you're already doing it. But if you're out there and you've been given to the church and you done found out, you done watched that from the plantation to the pulpit and found out that Serapis ain't for you, and that you've been lied to, and now you're not frequenting that ice house as frequently, and you need to find a place to throw some of them ducats. Believe me, you're throwing them in the right direction for the black god Amen and the goddess I set, given to something that's going to give back to you. So support us at warnhorizon.com. You can go there and contribute right there for a one-time donation. Or you can go and really help us, really, really, really help us do what we do by contributing whatever amount you can afford and stand per month to the work that you will see what's being happening. We always make sure we keep our people who give us, who finance us and help us. We let you see the work that we're doing. People say, why are you showing all the stuff you're doing? We got to, because people are contributing to us, and we don't want to be like other folks taking their money. They don't know what's happening with it. We want you to see what's happening. So we put the videos out there. Say, okay, you gave money. You see us here talking to 300 students at Makerere University. You see the whole video. You see what we're seeing. But the white folks will see it too. So what? Probably some agents in there filming anyway. At least our people can see that it can be done, and you see where your money's going. With that said, again, please, we need more contributions and support. Send us support. Send us an email, liberation@waronthehorizon.com with your phone number. We'll contact you back. You tell us how much you can afford to donate per month. We set it up automatically. You don't even have to do anything. It just, them dead presidents, you can go ahead and deliver us them dead presidents. Don't even have to see them crackers. God, going in that bank and seeing them dead crackers. I know you don't like seeing them dead crackers all the time. But we talked last week, and we told you we were going to bring some brothers in from B-More. And I want to set this up right, because I'm going to tell you exactly how it happened. We were up there. We planned on going, right, because we knew that after we saw what went down on Saturday, the first time with the Freddie Gray murder and the young people being out there and being serious about saying this is wrong, we didn't know at the time that they had been egged on and instigated against because they were attacked by racist whites, and that's what led to them busting them windows. So you don't be calling us no monkeys and N-words and pushing sisters and stuff. We didn't know that, but we knew once we saw them go off, hey, they're not gonna stop. Because you know how young brothers and sisters, they don't got as much to lose as we do. So in that excitement, we wanted to be up there, man. I got to be there. My wife really said, you got to be there. Because I was trying to figure out what am I going to be able to do. Because I don't want to just go somewhere to be looky-loo, and I don't want to go there, get no megaphone trying to, hey, look at here, I'm here. I don't do it like that. This is genuine. If I'm out there with these young people, I want to be of value. And I hadn't figured out how does an organization like ours help in that situation. But it was the right thing to do to be out there. So we went up there the first time, and we talked to who I would say is the best man in Baltimore, one of the best people I know. I'm a little bit biased because I've known this brother since 2000. On my first Kim and New Know Thyself tour, I met him and his family, a beautiful family, Brother Nati and his family that owns Everyone's Place. If you go to Baltimore and you don't go to Everyone's Place, something wrong with you, not me. So make sure you go in and step into Everyone's Place. And I went up and talked to my brother Nati, and I said, look, Brother Nati, man, we want to get up here. I want to get out here. I don't know if I can lecture for these young. I want to do something to contribute. And he said something to me. He gave me the key to the riddle. He said, you know, the energy out here now, all these young people want to do is what they're doing. It's their movement. They don't want nobody trying to take it over. Right now, they're not receptive to anything, but just go. You got to go with the flow because they're doing their own thing. And I said, you know what? I appreciate that. I said that was some good advice. So when I went and I was in the mix with the people, because the young people were smart. They said we weren't going. You know, they told everybody. They promised the family we're not going to go out there and do anything right away until the funeral's over. So the wake was on, I think it was Sunday, and then the funeral was on Monday, something like that. And everybody's thinking, okay, Tuesday's when it's going to all go down. So I'm ready to come up there on Tuesday. And sure enough, Monday night, they got it cranking. So I said, man, I wanted to be up here. So Tuesday, we went on up, heard some, talked to young people, saw what was really going on. And that's when I realized what we could do. Because I saw white instigators in the crowd doing stuff. And I said, okay, I can help prevent this kind of stuff. Saw one white boy with a gang. This was crazy. The young people were so well organized that I saw what I thought was a brother. He had a hoodie on, and he had a gang mask, a blood mask, a red mask. And it was up over his nose and face, and he had his big hoodie. And I said, okay, a little homie from the hood. And a blood brother, because the Bloods and Crips were standing together right in front of the police. He grabbed him and said, nah, you get out of here with that, dude. And when he pushed him, he pulled his hood off, and it was a cracker. And I ain't talking about no mulatto cracker. I ain't talking about no, you sure it wasn't a light-skinned dude, or maybe one of his friends. This was a stone-cold, dirty, a grime bag cracker. And I said, oh. So when the brother walked back to the line, the blood brother, the dude put the mask back up, and I snatched that thing and took his the little thing up from him. I said, no, we ain't having that. So I said, okay, I don't have to. They know what's going on. They know how to protect it, but they can't be involved with the little stuff. So me and some other brothers that was in the crowd, some of them had already been doing it, but we just started doing their light work for them. Let the young people run it. We're going to take care of their light work. Instigators, we're going to push them out the crowd. We're going to identify them and show people what they're doing. And I can document that and show the people how this works so that our people will see it and know what to look for in the future, So I said, I found what we can do. So the next week, I went up again because I said, man, I just want to, make some more connections. And long story short, we went to Everyone's Place again, the hub of everything. And, a lot of different stuff happened. But long story short, I was on my way out, and Brother Nati said it was on a Sunday, as a matter of fact. Nah, Brother Genie, come on. I said, nah, bro, I'm on my way out. No, come here, brother. I got to go take you somewhere. And, man, he took me to a place and told me to go down some steps. And because it's Brother Nati, if he tell me to jump in a can of beans, I trust it, brother. I'm going to jump in. I know I must need to be in these beans. Must be something I need. So I walked down the steps in this place. And, man, I saw brothers and sisters organizing. Looked like a Black Power Liberation Fest, talking about real stuff, knowing what they were talking about. Not what do we think we should do, but talking about the real knit and grit of what's going on in Baltimore. And I'm sitting there like, man, I saw what I saw on the ground, but now I'm getting a better perspective. And I ain't, I'm not, you got a lot of egomaniacs running around these parts. I ain't like that. When I go somewhere and I'm learning, I get quiet. I'm listening, and I'm like, yo, it got so bad I had to start asking questions. I was like, man, they dropping knowledge. So the questions I've been having about what's going on in Baltimore, I started asking, and they started dropping their opinions. I said, man, I don't know if they would be comfortable because, again, I felt like I was in the backwoods at a freedom liberation meeting or something. I'm telling you, it was like that. I mean, it was serious, brothers. I knew some of them, too, and they've been in this thing for years. And I was like, I didn't know they do it like this around these parts. So I politely just asked, well, I don't know if y'all want to, but if y'all wanted to do a radio program, I was hoping they were going to say yeah, because I got two brothers on here tonight, brothers and sisters. Brother by the name of Daren Muhammad and a brother by the name of David Johnson Sr. And let me tell you, these brothers was dropping the knowledge so hard, it took me back in the days when I used to listen to a program on WL with Eric St. James and also one with C. Miles. And they would have Steve Coakley, brothers like Steve Coakley on sometime, or some of the brothers in Baltimore used to call, and they used to drop the knowledge, and I used to be like, I was in high school and college, and I'm growing up like, yo, I wish I could meet these brothers. They dropping the knowledge. I mean, they made things real plain and gave information I couldn't find anywhere else, and then I started researching them and finding it was true, and I'd be like, wow, man, who are these people? And now I think I ran into some of them. So without any further ado, tonight we're going to talk Eddie Gray. We're going to talk Baltimore City. We're going to talk the mayor. We're going to talk about the politics of Baltimore City. We're going to talk about the poverty, the heroin, the racism, the Uncle Tomism. We're just going to talk the real, true community activist level of what is going on with Baltimore with this situation and others. And from a ground level, people that know what they're talking about and can really give us a whole different type of perspective. I promise you, brothers and sisters, you're going to really enjoy this program tonight because I got two brothers on here that's going to drop this thing like it's hot. So I just want to remind everybody that's listening, we only got one rule here. We don't use the N-word for any reason or any excuse whatsoever at all. So just remember that because we got some fantastic guests on, and they're going to make it hot. And I know sometimes some of us tend to slip, but we ain't going to slip tonight. We ain't going to slip tonight. But I'm going to tell you like this. Go ahead, call a neighbor, call a friend, sit back in your seat and hold on tight because these brothers about to bring it. My brother David and brother Daren, are y'all there?
Yes, sir. I'm here, brother.
Yes, brother.
All right.
Yeah, we're right here.
All right, well, first thing I want y'all brothers to do is come on in here and each of y'all can give us a little bit about who you are, what you do, because I know both of y'all are community activists, and any information, how people can reach you and contact you, and then we'll let you do that again at the end of the program.
Okay. Yes, sir. I'll start with my brother. I'll yield to Brother David.
Well, good evening, everyone that's listening and tuned in tonight. My name is David L. Johnson, Sr. I operate in Baltimore as an independent investigative reporter for the black community, as well as a host of the Broadcast News Networks Analysis Project, which airs on WOLB 1010 a.m. every Wednesday at 11 a.m., as well as a minister of the Hebrew Israelite faith, and we are on the ground, boots in the ground in the community on a day-by-day basis, and we network with Brother Daren and all the brothers and sisters in this community that are of a conscious and like mind. That's the best I can do for you.
All right. Thank you, brother. And with that, of course, my name is Brother Daren Muhammad. Let me first thank you, Brother Irritated Genie, and your family for having this kind of program and extending the invitation to myself and Brother David to join you on these airwaves tonight. I, of course, am a radio talk show host here in Tubman City, as we say. The State of the City is the title of the show, and we air 3 days a week, Monday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 12 noon on WFBR 1590 AM. We stream on our app, Spreaker.com, as well as TuneIn Radio, and longtime activist in the city of Baltimore. And just honored, as I said before, brother, that you would extend the invitation. And just thank you and thank Brother Nati. Nothing happens by accident or incident or coincident for us coming together when we came together last Sunday. So we're right on time with what we're doing tonight, brother.
All right. So I want to jump right into this. Could you brothers, and since y'all brothers know each other, y'all got a good rhythm. I saw how y'all were doing. Y'all can do it however you want to do it. Give me and give our listening audience your perspective, and I'm going to give you some time to do it. And the only time I'm going to come in is if I want to ask you something about something you said, but I want y'all to take time because we got some time tonight. I want you to help us understand the police community climate that led into this from a historical perspective in Baltimore, not necessarily the national one, but the Baltimore City police relationship with the people, the historical aspect that led into this situation, and then what really happened. But then give us a breakdown after you do that of the different people and the different players, who the good guys, who the bad guys. Break it down for us from a on-the-ground level from brothers that know. We listening, brothers.
Okay. Then I'll yield to my brother, Brother David. I'll let you start, brother.
Well, let me do it like this. Let's go to the root of what everybody's really after. Okay. Baltimore has a gang problem. We admit that. We 100% acknowledge Baltimore has a gang problem. But if we allow the right to define what a gang is, then the levels of clarity go through the roof. You see, in Baltimore, they claim to have arrested and have busted down the Crips, the Bloods, and the BGF, or what's formerly known as the Black Guerrilla Family. However, these gangs have no disposition wherein they can control public policy. Now, the number one gang in Baltimore that has never been highlighted, that has never gone to jail for any of its crimes, is a gang that we have personally within the black community labeled as the White Guerrilla Family. Now, this gang is made up of Maryland's 500 wealthiest and most powerful corporations. Their office and or headquarters is in Baltimore at 111 South Calvert Street. The most interesting aspect about this gang is that they've released a particular report that celebrates their 60th anniversary as we speak. This gang of developers, of bankers, of investment bankers, of owners of Baltimore Orioles, the Ravens, Under Armour, and other corporations like H&S Bakery have systematically seized control of the mayor's office, of the city council, of the city solicitor's office, and every other place, and make public policy through backdoor deals that give them exclusive authority that over the last 40 years in Baltimore have completely robbed the citizens, grandma, pop, mommy, daddy, children, school systems. Everything you can think of has been robbed and stripped of its resources that created the atmosphere and the climate, and they have surrounded and insulated themselves with a police department that operates as nothing less than an organized format for gang membership to destroy anything that stands up and even appears to be remotely in opposition to it. That is the gist of Baltimore's gang problem.
Now, I'm going to let my brother come in and make his part, but I have to ask a question because this is War on the Horizon, and first of all, let me first say that was incredibly concise and clear. As a matter of fact, you're eerily close to reminding me, the brother had mentioned that you work with Brother Coakley. I'm hearing that Steve Coakley energy, man, and I'm loving it. I have to ask you a question, though. Is this white guerrilla family gang that you're talking about, is it predominantly controlled by small hats, which are we call white so-called Jews, or is it the white Anglo-Saxon, or is it a mix of the two?
It's a mix of the two, but more so what it is a marriage of money. When the marriage of money and power collides, there's always the aftermath or the juices that flow. And anyone that's willing to come in, and I want to make it as sound as grotesque as possible so that the citizens get a good idea of what takes place in this town. But when the juices flow, anyone that's willing to come in and sop up the juices of this sexual gratification that they lay out through raping the citizens, through foreclosures, through the water bills and the sophisticated land banking systems, through the overpopulation of its jail industry in this city alone, these organizations that run this town have reconfigured everything in such a way that they even control most of the black elected officials who somehow, somewhere are all also connected by way of various fraternities and sororities and clubs and or groups that pledge to protect white supremacy and hold their city down by the balls. This is where Baltimore lies.
Okay. All right, brother. Brother Daren.
Yes, sir.
So you?
Yes, sir. Well, I totally concur and agree with my brother, 100%, 1,000%. Just one other group we left out, which is the fourth arm, an extension of this government and this criminal organization, this criminal empire called the White Guerrilla Family. That's the media. That's why most of what we've been seeing and hearing, of course, is to keep our people destabilized and confused so they don't know where to properly point the blame or point the tail on the donkey or point the tail on the honky when we look at their policies and how they've affected or ill-affected our people in the city of Baltimore. So the Greater Baltimore Committee, which, of course, in every town and every city, there's a group such as the Greater Baltimore Committee that runs the towns and make the decisions, controlling, of course, everything that moves in the city. And then, of course, tie into that the NGOs, the non-governmental organization or non-godly organizations that are heavily funded in Baltimore in the 90s with the NAACP moving here in the 90s, as Brother Steve Coakley talked about, really late 80s and 90s after they were spied on by the ADL. Then many of those nonprofits like the NAACP national office moved here to Baltimore City. You got the Casey Foundation, which is tied to UPS out of Chicago, which moved here. They run a lot of the social services in Baltimore City, and most of them are part of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, metrosexual, queer community for the most part. Then you have the Open Society Institute under George Soros that landed here in the early 90s, and it bankrolled basically the mayor's office of Kirk Smoke, who was the Boulay Road Scholar, and set up a lot of the programs. Even when we look at black men being busted up and busted down regarding child support, most of the child support in the local cities and in the state is run by the Open Society Institute. And so they're the ones that basically give this government funds. And when they give the funds, it comes with strings attached. So this is what we've been seeing that's been going on in the city of Baltimore, probably since, as my brother said, the inception of the Greater Baltimore Committee, which is the Lesser Baltimore Committee, which was set up in 1955 by 83 greedy businessmen. And it's been all downhill for the citizens in the city of Baltimore in terms of, as my brother said, maiming, beating, pillaging, the structural looters, the structural rioters, the structural swindlers that have swindled us out of, again, the homes, the water bills. We pay the highest electricity bills in the country in terms of BG&E, which we refer to as Baltimore Gangster Enterprise. Now, of course, under Exelon, which is under Barack Obama's best friend, Bill Ayers. Bill Ayers' father started Exelon in Illinois. So all of this has direct ties that go right to the White House. And what we've seen over the past 3 weeks has been no more than a preemptive operation being conducted straight out of the White House against our people in the city of Baltimore. And when we expand the envelope, we'll talk about how it ties into the Department of Justice, the COPS program, their global agenda that they want to execute. And I think Baltimore right now is the epicenter of what it is that they have planned for the rest of the country. So with that, I'll yield back to my brother.
I mean, I think you summed it in. You tied it in quite well. And one of the things that we want to stress for the community, we have a particular phrase that comes out of their own law books that has to be in the minds of the people. This was not a riot. This was resisting murder under color of law. People have not understood, and we understand the depth of the phrase black on black violence, however it is that one wants to construe it. But what people are not understanding is that the police were playing for years a head game. And the head game involves an officer who, of the day, was able to receive a particular code or call that gave them the right to call for backup on a routine traffic stop, a supposed drug arrest, a particular stop and frisk that then encountered with the person being the victim of the day who would be beaten, choked, or whatever the case may be. And this has systematically taken place throughout the city of Baltimore, unbeknownst to the majority of the citizens, for quite a few years. And it wasn't until at least the last 10 years that this thing began to escalate, that the community, other organizations, in 2007, we founded an organization called the Community Forum Think Tank, which later reemerged as the Baltimore Black Think Tank. In documenting these murders by way of police brutality, we have so far, since 2005, been able to put together a list of close to 200 names of citizens of Baltimore that have either died mysteriously in police custody or straight-out shootings and brutalizations, and nobody has gone to jail.
So wait a minute. You're saying that there are 200 names of people.
We have a listing of close to 200 names that dates back as far as 2005.
So
some of these names.
In 10 years.
Go ahead, dear brother.
In 10 years, we're talking about close to 200 people, which would be 20 people per year who died in police custody. Were most of them black?
Most of them were black. And according to the evidence and the publications that were put out and the things that we were able to see, we're looking at the form of death by which most of these people died, and the pattern is quite clear and or readily available, either by way of gun or taser.
Right.
Now, if the Justice Department is looking for pattern and practice, and we as lowly investigative reporters and talk show hosts, if we can find it and dig up this type of data and do it on a shoestring budget, then a government with unlimited sources of funding should be able to track every crack and crevice of every murder that has ever taken place in this city and shut everything down.
Sure, absolutely.
Now let me do this. I want y'all to continue, but you just said something. I want to ask you brothers to do something for us. We have a website called War on the Horizon, and I know that you all are more appropriate to help this situation being in Baltimore than we are. However, what we would offer is, since we have an international platform with our website, if you could come up with the names and a brief synopsis and a picture of all the black people that have been killed by police officers since 2005, we will be willing to put it in one place for our people on the internet so people could go and see it. If there are any attached videos, we would put it all in one place so that people could go and look and see this is what is happening to black people in Baltimore at the hands of the police. But we would need you all to give us that information if that's possible.
Yes, sir. Well, I know that it's definitely possible. Let me add, as my brother mentioned and talked about, a lot of this began in 2000 when Martin O'Malley, who was basically the part of the Jesuit Irish Catholic mafia. So we talk about the small hats or the Zionists, but oftentimes the Jesuits are not mentioned. In Baltimore and Maryland, of course, it's a Jesuit city and a Jesuit town, as Brother Steve Coakley would always emphasize, and my brother can bear witness and attest to that. So we have that next connection on that level. So O'Malley, who basically was from Montgomery County, or really from Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is the home of the Ku Klux Klan, moved to Baltimore and married into the Karen family. The Karen family has been part of the historic Irish Catholic mafia that have run and controlled Baltimore City. In terms of the politics in Baltimore City, they controlled what moved along the waterfront in terms of the millions and billions of dollars of money and goods that comes into the port of Baltimore. The Karen family have always been tied to that and the corruption in the city of Baltimore. And this is known by many of the elders, but oftentimes they don't want to talk about it because they know there will be consequences and repercussions for revealing that which they know to be true. So Martin O'Malley comes in 1999 and becomes the mayor in Baltimore City as an opportunist, in which he split the vote between two blacks that were running at that time. But many said, of course, he wasn't elected, but selected, as we've seen, because they wanted to put him in that position. His job was to basically bring in what is referred to and called zero tolerance. He went to New York and met with William Bratton at that time, who was the commissioner in New York. He met with those who developed the zero tolerance broken windows theory, and he wanted to use it to bring to Baltimore to crunch numbers, and he created something called CityStat. And so with CityStat, and he tried to get one black commissioner at the time. His name was Ron Daniels. Ron Daniels said he wouldn't do that because he knew it clearly was violating blacks' rights and citizen rights. So he went and got Ed Norris and brought Ed Norris down from New York. And Ed Norris became, of course, the one who executed the zero tolerance for Martin O'Malley, in which they were, again, pushing numbers in which they had to get quotas. And we saw the information. I met with some officers, some black officers who gave us the information. Officers had to go out and arrest a certain number of people an hour, certain number of people a day, certain number of people a week, certain number of people a month, certain number of people quarterly, certain number of people a year. And this led to over 100,000 arrests per year over a 6-year period. Many of them for no offenses except for what they call quality of life issues. Some that were just sitting on their steps drinking beer or in their backyards drinking beer. Some for just standing outside. We had old men, young men that was arrested. We had barbers arrested. We had preachers that were sat on the sidewalk because he was driving a car and left his license home. They arrested the preacher and left his wife sitting on the sidewalk. And you would have thought the preachers would have rose up in the city of Baltimore. So all of this led to, again, creating a permanent underclass in the city of Baltimore, because under the Homeland Security and Patriot Act, once you got arrested, that excluded you from being able to live in certain housing, excluded you from being able to get certain jobs, excluded you from being able to get certain Pell Grants and other education material once this happened. So this created that permanent underclass, and so we're looking at the effects now that we saw 3 weeks ago from the zero tolerance in the city of Baltimore. This was already on top of what was happening when Bill Clinton donated or designated Sandtown, Winchester, the area where all this occurred, as what is called a empowerment zone, in which this was supposed to have been a model for urban renewal in the city of Baltimore for the country, in which the $100 million was pumped in. But with that $100 million being pumped in, then of course we saw on that top end was the stringent law enforcement and mass incarceration going on in that community. And that community now is number one in home foreclosures in the city of Baltimore, because, as my brother mentioned, those same white guerrilla family members used that $100 million not to invest in the neighborhood. They built a few homes, but for the most part, they used it to embezzle the money, to steal the money, to peel the money, and direct the money downtown into the Inner Harbor West, so much so that now they have what is called the Inner Harbor East. So just wanted to lay that out because, again, the Department of Justice is here, but they've not talked about the violation of citizen civil rights with the mass unconstitutional illegal arrest and the sweeps that were going on in the city of Baltimore. And even though they took the name away in terms of zero tolerance, it's still going on. They had a flex squad, which was those who went after so-called most of violent offenders in Baltimore City, and which they were going in, grabbing brothers dying in police stations, women they were raping and having sex with women in police stations. So all of this has been going on with many of these political officials that are still in power today. They were in power at that time when it was taking place.
All right, hold on. You got to say that again. You're telling me that police officers would be arresting women and then raping them in the police?
Yes. Yeah, it happened in numerous. This was a known practice in Baltimore City. That officers were doing this. They were white officers and black officers, because you had, of course, it was a thin blue line or a thick blue line, as we eventually found out.
Was it now? Were they trying to mostly do that to prostitutes, or did they not even care what women it was? Just if they get a woman and arrest her, they were doing it, or were they trying to pigeon it to certain women? And the reason I'm asking you this because I'm trying to imagine some man's wife come home and say the police raped me, and I'm trying to figure out how that goes down. So help me understand.
Well, you would have women out that maybe would be prostitutes, or you would have women that may be driving, their husbands or boyfriends' vehicles. And sometimes the women's license may have expired, tags might have expired. And then the big thing was the police officers, because they had these quotas, they didn't care who they snatched. I mean, they had what was called Jump Out Tuesday. And so on Tuesday, you better push them numbers up. I'm telling you what the officer told me. Otherwise, there'll be consequential repercussions. Or, you would just have women that was out late certain times of the hours, and officers would do it. But all of this came forward in terms of which was a standard practice that was going on, particularly by members of the Flex Squad, which we labeled it as the Sex Squad in terms of the activities that were going on in the station houses. And the big thing, as I said, was officers was looking for guns. And they would pick women up or pick men up and tell me, where can I get a gun? Because that was a big bonus point in the quota system if you can get a gun. And so they ride women around in their cars, and women would go to guys on the corner and ask them where they could get a gun so they could go back and tell the police officers. I mean, this was standard operating procedure in Baltimore City.
So you telling me, if I had lived in Baltimore, and let's say my wife had been riding around, she didn't get her wallet because she was going right around the corner to the store midnight, she had to get something real quick. Right. The potential existed in Baltimore during this period, and I guess now, but particularly during this period, that they pull her over, she doesn't have her license, they arrest her, and my wife could get raped, and then they do whatever charge they do, and then probably charge her, and then she comes home to me and she's been raped by the police.
Right. Yeah, and that wasn't our time. It wasn't documented. I mean, that's come out that you had police and we had serial rapists, and some of them were police. I can tell you stories of police officers taking prostitutes in the park. 2 go in and only one come out. I mean, this is known in terms of what's been going on in Baltimore City.
That's correct.
And you got the block, the red light district, that's right next to the main police station. And you had police officers, man, in terms of police officers on the block fighting the brothers and then fighting the lesbians over the women that dance on the block. I mean, this is known information.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. Okay. So we got a climate. In other words, it's off the hook. What you telling me, Baltimore is off the hook?
Let me say again, my friend. When we tell you that Baltimore has a gang problem, we as the citizens of Baltimore, we confess it. But we're not going to look at the gang problem from the way the CNN news presents it. We're looking at organized crime beyond recognition. We were told by federal investigators when these types of charges were being presented, and they were activists that know the law so well, know it down to the T, that they were filing proper paperwork to bring in the Justice Department to investigate them. The FBI said, we understand the depth and the nature of your plea, but the question is, do you really want an investigation of all this in this town? Because we have a question for you. If we investigate, who is going to run the city?
Right.
Dang!
That's what the FBI said. So now they know of the corruption.
So basically, the FBI saying that it's so systemic, you ain't gonna have nobody left once we start investigating.
That's the essence of what they were conveying to us.
That's right.
Now, these are not the stories. And again, as Brother Muhammad said, he laid the thing out so beautifully. Our people, the community and the world needs to understand that the children, this wasn't gang initiated. We can't do that. We can't lay that on the brothers and let them take credit for something they didn't do. These were high school children that were attacked. These were children that were assaulted, that had no other alternatives but to defend themselves.
That's right.
So when we say that the children fought a battle on 4 fronts simultaneously, they were fighting the white business community, they were fighting the politicians, they were fighting the police, and they were fighting the corruption of media simultaneously. Right. So we got to acknowledge that the children did, in 8 hours, what 50 years of civil rights marching and singing couldn't get accomplished in 50 years of marching, singing, and praying. The babies backed them up and exposed them to the light of day.
All right, you got it. Whoa, that's it. All right, that's the perfect. Whoa, y'all. Hey, look, brothers and sisters, look, I told y'all I bought some heavyweights in here. Y'all don't be trying to believe the irritated. Now you see what I'm talking about. All right, look, this is the question is really dying. We all want to know. We looked at the mayor, told them not to attack those young people. We looked at the chief prosecutor, indict these 6 officers. And from the outside looking in, a lot of us, even though part of us is going, don't ever be too trusted until you know what you know. But we want to like these sisters, and we want to say, hey, these sisters did the right thing. Give us the real lowdown on who's of value in the black politicians and who the ones we looking at that are not. Starting with the mayor and going all around. Let us know who we should love, who we should be in the middle with, and who we should say we no matter what they do, we know they ain't no good for our people.
Well, let's sum it up like this.
Okay.
We don't have a big enough dumpster in this town to put them all in. See, if they're not corrupt on one level, they're corrupt on the other level. If they're not corrupt on another level, then they're compliant with it, as well as their silence, which is in actuality a show of approval. So every now and then we have one or two that slide through and or fall through the cracks. But our community cannot be allowed or cannot be afforded the right to go under the mistaken assumption and continue to believe in this man's system. The system is not for us. And the only way to make it in this system is to become fully compliant with all of the wickedness that has been laid down from the very inception of this country's theft. And we have to look at it that way.
Sure. I would concur with my brother, and then, of course, take it a step further in terms of what Brother Malcolm said. You cannot get a chicken to produce a duck egg, even though they both are fowls. The chicken just does not have it in its nature to produce a duck egg. So this political system in the city of Baltimore does not have it in its nature to really thoroughly represent our people, because when you look at the history of Baltimore City, it was always referred to as a white man's town. You've read the book by James Lowen talking about sundown towns. Well, Baltimore is probably very near a sundown town as you could come in the north. So much so when many people come from the south, they say when they come to Baltimore, we going up south in terms of, again, the backwardness of the city in terms of the racism and white supremacy. So I say that to say, as Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said, that we have to have black women, not to be compromising Cleopatras, but we need black women to be those fighting Nefertitis. And the 2 women that you just mentioned, unfortunately, are not fighting Nefertitis. They're compromising Cleopatras, brother. All right? With their modern-day Julius Caesars and their modern-day Mark Anthonys, for the most part. This, you know what I mean? So this is what we're looking at. So on the surface, of course, skillfully through their media, which they try to manipulate our people, they would try to sell these two women based on their complexion connection, that we should, fall down and submit and humble ourselves or lower our guards to the petty nationalism or the complexion connection. To say because she's black, then she got to be for us. But Public Enemy told us years ago, every brother ain't a brother, and we bring it up to date and say every sister ain't a sister. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And so what we're looking at right now, brother, is the Olivia Pope and the Viola Davis, how to get away with murder in terms of those images that are being pushed to our people right now. What do I mean by that? Last year, everybody was talking about Donald Sterling and what Donald Sterling did and said. But what Donald Sterling and the small hat owners of the NBA are saying, that our new boy toys, our latest toys, own an NBA team. This is what the hedge fund owners, like Michael Milken, who Magic Johnson was fronting for, this is what they're investing in. So now the new toy of this year are black women, but they're not real black women. They're the Olivia Pope type. They're the Viola Davis type that they're investing in and putting them out as the image to our people. You saw them just do that with Loretta Lynch. So this is what we're looking at right now, brother. And so we have to look at how the current mayor got to the position she got to. Look at how the current state's attorney got to the position that she got to. We have to follow the money, because where the money flows is where their energy is going to go. And her treasure, when we looked at it, her treasure is the same treasure for Martin O'Malley. So how can she be free from, again, the politics and the corruption in Baltimore City when you look at her treasure, Jim Cadigan, who's the same treasure of Martin O'Malley? And when you look at Stephanie Rawlings-Blake, she was on the council for over 15 years and went along with much of the corruption that we saw going on in the city of Baltimore. She co-signed for it while black men were being killed, while black men were being arrested, while black women were being raped. She never opened her mouth up about it.
Not once.
She not once. There's no record of her ever standing up. So what you hear her saying and doing now is part of a bigger agenda that they're trying to push that we'll get into, which is about federalization of the police departments, but using our people's legitimate hurt and pain for their political gains is what they're doing. And she's on the president's task force on 21st century policing, along with this police commissioner. And she's on the U.S. Conference of Mayors. She's on the Democratic National Committee as the secretary. So we know saying it's follow the money. But this woman, Stephanie Rawlings-Blake, everybody knows when she was on the council, she got there because of her father, Pete Rawlings, who was a delegate. And he got there because of, again, the might of the small hats that was financing him. And so once she got on the council, she was intimately involved with Martin O'Malley. Everybody knows it. I mean, intimately, so much so that when he decided to start dating Katie Karen, the family of the Karen family he wanted to marry into, she was talking about committing suicide if she couldn't have him. So this is the kind of women we have, brother.
Wait. When you say intimately, I thought you meant like they work together really well.
No. You've seen The Wire, brother. So in The Wire, the women that they were portraying was City Council President Sheila Dixon and Stephanie Rawlings, that were intimately tied to Martin O'Malley and involved with Martin O'Malley. Okay? So that's just the truth. And everybody in the city. Yes, sir.
You telling me that physically beautiful sister ain't no sister? She running around sleeping with a devil?
Yes, she's sleeping with the other man. And I'm telling you what I got from her husband, brother. I'm telling you what her husband told me personally, face to face with witnesses standing there. That she was, when our people were being arrested in terms of violation of their constitutional rights, she was going on trips to New York with Martin O'Malley and Ed Norris, man. They were going up, talking about they were going to a terrorism convention. The conventions got canceled, but they still went up to New York, man. So we said they weren't going to a terrorism convention. They were going to a tear it up convention, brother. They were recruiting women from City Hall to tell them that they could be a part of these orgies they was going up to New York participating in. That was like a rites of passage so that they could basically season you to see if they could trust you. And this is why our people were catching hell. These women, that's why I call them compromising Cleopatras. And they can never be trusted. It was less than 4 years ago before she came to mayor. This woman weighed about 300 pounds, brother. They had her before they made her the mayor, they had her go and get a gastric bypass. She was bigger than Al Sharpton. You understand? So they gave her not a total makeover, but an extreme makeover is what they gave her. So you can't clean up that image, brother.
And then print her out there in front, and we think, oh, we got a sister that's there, and really we got Uncle Tom.
Right. Yeah, Aunt Thomasina, brother. Aunt Thomasina.
Bottom line,
yes,
I concur.
Yeah, A modern-day Kizzy is what we got, brother. As I said, on Olivia Pope, and she had her Fitz in terms of Martin O'Malley, or her Fitzgerald. And that's the image that's being put out there. And then Marilyn Mosby as well, brother. They don't take a woman that's a neophyte and make her the state's attorney. She hadn't been a city prosecutor for less than 6 years. So the question we have to ask is, why would they take her? You got small hats, Jews that's been down there for years, and they never made them the state's attorney. So she just became the state's attorney in November. So the question we got to ask is, why would they put her in that position when you got others that's probably more qualified, because they obviously got need for her and an agenda with her right now.
Okay, so then let's go here, because this is where I want to go, because y'all are making too much sense. So 2 things. One, the first question, we got to know this, and then we're going to go to y'all talking about what the bigger picture is. My question is, so obviously these 2 sisters are put in here from what you all are saying for the good of the Euros. Are these 6 officers going to get convicted in due time, or is this a hoax?
We believe it to be a fraud. The fix already. No problem, Diva. The fix already appears to be in. All the evidence with the police officers from the attorneys now seeking to bring shame to the memory of a dead man by now seeking to question the size of a pocket knife, which matters not when a man's neck was broken. We're now caught in a situation and a scenario where 325,000 nationwide members of the FOP have determined that they're going to stand and back these officers. We're looking at public records, court documents of one of the officers who, within and of himself, had his weapon taken from him on 2 separate occasions by the Baltimore City Police Department. Restraining orders brought up by his ex-wife and her husband. See, things like this have to be brought to the forefront, and people are going to understand the mindsets of the men that are governing the city of Baltimore. You see, when we say that the citizens of Baltimore have a gang problem, we got to remind people that these gang members have decided to reconfigure the city. They've torn down houses and blocks and made the areas look like war zones. And then you've simultaneously had donations given to the police department by big wealthy businessmen such as Peter Angelos and others. So in supplying a police department who's then able to run through the community after having been recruited straight out of Iraq and Afghanistan, home fresh from the war zones, to police communities that now resemble the same war zones that America went overseas and tore down. Quite naturally, a mindset like that is going to react in a way where killing is of no consequence to them. As long as the powers of white supremacy are protected, this is pretty much all that they're after. And as a result, we say that they're looking to get these men off, and others are now just lying back, waiting in the wings to see what the community's response is going to be.
That's right. Yeah, I would concur, brother. This clearly looks like a Rodney King redo or Rodney King 2.0, brother. This is why they keep harping on that it's been 23 years since the Rodney King verdict and what we saw that took place in L.A., because they're planning the same thing in Baltimore City. What we saw 3 weeks ago was just a prelude to what they really want to do, so they could see how the community would respond, and we'll get into talk about the dynamics of that. But, again, when you look at this state's attorney and the speech she gave, she gave like a campaign speech on May the 1st. There's the significance of that day, May the 1st. Nothing happened by accident, all right? She gave it like it was a campaign speech, and she clearly was talking about depraved murder. And it's not even a category in any legal book of depraved murder. She started talking about illegal arrest. That's not even a charge. You understand? So she knew what she was doing, but her investigative team and the executive team of the sheriff's office, they investigated this because the sheriff is the most powerful law enforcement office in the city. And our brother David Wiggins was educating, Brother David Johnson was educating our people about the importance and the power of the sheriff's office. But this sheriff department under a brokeback down there by the name of John Anderson, so we got a whole homosexual cabal we're going to have to talk about that runs this city, brother. That's in key places and spaces in this city, man. And so they're tied to City College. Most of them graduated from City College. They used to have a process. The former mayor, Kirk Smoke, went to City College. They used to have a process in which they used to have to swim in the nude, brother. They would dip them. And they dip them, of course, so that they could break them. And when they broke them, that means they could be in a position of power, but they didn't have no power and couldn't execute power for our people. these are the kind of people that they have in positions in Baltimore City. All right?
No. Now, let me ask you this, and I'm only asking this for a reason. You know, a lot of times we hear the stories and stuff. Is that a reality, or is that one of those urban myths where they got dipped in the naked pool, or, you know, the Illuminati kind of thing, or is this real talk here?
It's real talk, brother. I talked to a very powerful lawyer in the city of Baltimore. I was in the barbershop having a conversation with him. His son went to boys Latin. His son said, "Dad, you went to City College. Is what he's saying true?" His father had to admit to him in the barbershop, which we call the Black Man's Country Club, where the black man going to be a black man. He had to admit to his son that, yes, he was dipped in that process. I love the other men that went to these were like the first wave of integration in terms of when blacks, of course, going to these schools. City College was a predominantly white or WASP Jesuit school with the Jews in there as well. And so this is real in terms of what has happened to our people. And so
he admitted in front of his son that he got dipped.
Yes, he admitted in front of his son. And if we could have some honesty, that's why we got to get this information out, because we can help to hopefully heal some of them at the same time, because they're not free. You know what I mean? They just loose. We can hopefully free some of them, or at least free the generations that's coming behind them.
That's right.
But getting back to the state's attorney, she clearly is throwing this case when you look at what she's doing. And she was trained by the former state's attorney, Patricia Jessamy, whose husband, Howard Jessamy, is a boule. She's being trained by Kurt Smoke, who's a boule. Being trained by Billy Murphy, who's a boule. The same attorney that's supposed to be representing the Gray family. But he was on her transition team and is training her. She was also trained by Quite Easy, You Don't Fool Me, from the NAACP. So these are the people behind the scene that's controlling her and molding her. But when you look at her actions in terms of, again, the little campaign speech that she gave, the charges that she's given, not no serious charges here. Then yesterday she goes to the Prince concert and stands on stage with Prince. Now, just anybody looking at that would say they're going to ask for a change of venue. They're going to ask that she be recused because of these things that she's done. So they clearly are throwing the case, of course, for the city of Baltimore right now. When you look at all of her actions right now. And none of that is an accident. Everything you see is taking place because somebody instructed her to go out and do those things. So you would never go out and even give any impression of any type of conflict of interest. But she's got a lot of conflict of interest in terms of the people who have funded her campaign and the people that are behind the scenes controlling her right now. So, and that's the reality, brother. And she never stood up for our people. While our people were being illegally arrested, unconstitutionally arrested, while black men were being killed, she never stood up and came strong, her or her husband. In fact, her husband worked to get rid of probably one of the strongest members on the city council, Councilwoman Belinda Conaway, a few years ago. That's how he got on. But he's one of the newest Boule members. He's the young Boule member. She just moved here from Boston. His father used to run nightclubs years ago. So he went to school, I think, at Tuskegee is where they met. So this is the dynamics of what we're looking at right now. But clearly they're throwing this case, and these officers will walk. But the only thing the attorney, Billy Murphy, is trying to get out of it is a payday. Billy Murphy normally don't even try these small cases. He's working more for multinational corporations like Coca-Cola and other multinational corporations right now. While black men were being unconstitutionally arrested, there's no history of him filing one multi-class action lawsuit. And while Billy Murphy not filing a multi-class action lawsuit, there's no history of Malik Fuyu Shabazz filing one multi-class action lawsuit in the city of Baltimore. And he knew about all this that's been going on as well. So we at a time when we're seeing a lot of operatives that have been brought into the city of Baltimore. And that's the good thing about what we've seen, that it allowed all of this to come to the surface in terms of those who we thought were really fighting for our people, who really are not fighting for our people, and those who we didn't know was working for FEMA and didn't know was working for MEMA and BEMA and the clergy response teams and the EMAN response teams and the local spy network on the grassroots. It allowed us to see all of them that's been working here in the city of Baltimore against our people, brother.
All right, brother. Now, here where we got to go. Now we got to transition it, but don't let me forget. After we hit this next one, we got to get into this white sex, because I got to know if we got a broke back problem up there in Baltimore. Our people need to know and understand how bad it is. But the next phase I want to go into, help us understand the bigger picture of the federalization of the police of Baltimore. What does that mean for Baltimore and this country and African people in this country? What is the bigger picture that we need to understand is happening?
Okay, Dave?
Well, the bigger picture of it would be as what we do. We try to move the people away from internet conspiracy theories. We understand the conspiratorial aspects of it. We understand the satanic nature of it. But what we try to get the people to understand is conspiracy in fact, conspiracy in motion. And this is the essence of what it is. So the things that people are seeing have a deeper spiritual connotation behind them, and we cannot deny it. So we do have to look at that. This federalization process, what we would have to do is look at Arab Spring. We have to understand how the CIA operated all those falls of countries abroad, Egypt, Tunisia, Libya, all of the different countries. And we see the same basic footprint that was utilized, this offsetting of social media as a means of which the people communicated through mass text. But now we're able to learn and understand that more often these mass texts are sent out exclusively by agencies like the NSA to make you think it's your buddy down the street that sent you a text that says this is what we're going to do at 3 o'clock, when the reality is the orders have come from the intelligence community, which were some of the things that Edward Snowden was trying to tell people about Project Prism and other things that were taking place. So when you start looking at the hurtling of America into a global new world order, we have to understand, as Brother Coakley taught us, and it is true, Zbigniew Brzezinski's book, Out of Control, demonstrated that the last non-complying element in the New World Order that they would have to literally kick square in the seat of its pants was the black man and woman, because we were not going to be easy to drag across the threshold of the New World Order.
And in what aspect? Help me understand. What was it about? What is the aspect that what is the thing we weren't going to be compliant with, in their opinion? So we understand.
Well, one of the things we would do, I want to refer the community to a particular book called Armed with Expertise by Joy Rohde. That's Joy Rohde, Rohde. The book is Armed with Expertise, and the subtitle is The Militarization of American Social Research During the Cold War. Now, in the book, on page 151, is the most profound layout for what it is that they're running. Though this is a global project, when we watched and witnessed brothers such as yourself, Brother Khalid Muhammad, Brother Coakley, and others, laying out the depth or the tract of African history, brothers, Ben Ami, anybody just trying to deal with it, one of the 3 steps in the phase they acknowledged was that, number one, globalization creates economic problems. High-level unemployment, poverty, stagnation, and inadequate resources. But globalization walks them over to step 2, which is technological change as well as modernization. In the midst of that, you had to urbanize everything. You had to create class struggle. You had to allow wealth inequity. You had to create population density while simultaneously dislocating or disorienting people. While step 1, you maintain the continuous loss of identity. Now, let me walk you up the chain, because this is where it gets interesting. Because of people with a loss of identity, you can tell them that they're anything. So this loss of identity with population growth, and especially an increasing number of youth, can create social instability, a level of alienation. It can be a source of recruits for what they call mobilizing structures, which leads them to the last phase, increased root cause and or the likelihood of what they call domestic terrorism. So in other words, they laid out a chart and a format that if every major city in America operated under the premise of globalization, technological change, and maintaining a continuous loss of identity within the black community, you could steer us in any direction you wanted us and use us as cannon fodder to create anarchy right in America as you federalize and bring in a supposed new world order. This is where we have come.
So
and
now,
I hope I'm making sense.
You are. Here's my question. First of all, let me just say, brother, y'all are dropping it. It must be hot because y'all sure dropping it like it is. But this is what I got to ask you. I understand you just laid down to us what the platform for how they structured it. And we see it, so it ain't even a question of conspiracy. The bottom line is that is happening right as we question about that. But here's my question. you said that we would be the most difficult group to take over the threshold. What was their rationale for why we would be the most difficult group to take over the threshold into the New World Order? Because of what?
Because of political discontent, which people would understand that they have few political opportunities. They would live under constrained civil liberties. Then you would see elite disenfranchisement as well as create competition. Now, they walked over with their studies of young people and realized that when young people perceive the illegitimacy of any government, any regime, or any occupation, that this will create within a community a cultural propensity or a climate for the continuous emergence of violence, which, of course, will facilitate violence as a basic norm in the community, which is why the media still reports on murder, still reports on robbery, still reports on crime, because at the end of the day, you know that people are reading, people are hearing New World Order, people are hearing Illuminati. They know they don't like it, but because they don't see it or cannot actually pinpoint it, once it's all laid down and the curtain is revealed, the people are going to rebel. Even though you have steered them to a particular direction, because you have an abundance of young people, there's still going to be a problem. Make sense?
Okay, so and they particularly looked at black children that way as opposed to whites, Asians, or it was us that they said these would be the rebellious ones.
Well, what we got to remember is the reason they said these would be the rebellious ones, because you got to remember the socialization of the white male is based around the American dream. The white male at his lowest point and go to his white brethren and get help any day he chooses to. But the disillusioned black youth can get no help from no one. So as a result, they will be the problem because they're not going to buy into the commercialization of the New World Order. They're not going to be willing to accept it. And although we have drugged them, we have numbed them out, there is still a semblance, a substance of the spirit of the Almighty from heaven above, all the way down to the roots and the lineage of their ancestors that will not allow the core of their soul to completely comply with it. And this is how deep they have studied us. They have studied us just that deep. Let me make an example, if I may. In the Washington Times newspaper, Friday, February 13th, this year, February 13th, 2015, front page, FBI Director James Comey stated that all across America, people are using the police as race scapegoats. But what he goes into is the simplicity of the fact by saying that the problems that they're dealing with in these communities that are affecting black people have nothing to do with police brutality, but it's a lack of role models, it's a lack of adequate education, it's a lack of decent employment, and all sorts of other opportunities that most of them take for granted. So never mind the body increase. Never mind the nationwide egging on of people into an aftermath or bloodbath, but just the sheer simplicity of stating the problems are them, it justifies in the eyes of the military, the National Guard, the hunky white boys on the motorcycle gang, the drunks in the bar, the sports fans, whatever the case may be. It justifies in their eyes when it's time to come kill you because you have dehumanized the entire black race by simply saying they're nothing but a bunch of monkeys and animals and they're selling dope and tearing up our property. Kill them anyway.
Let me bring my brother back. I know he was getting a little bit of background noise, so I muted him. Let me bring him back. You back, Brother Daren?
Yes, sir. Well, to be more concrete and specific, as you talked about the question regarding the federalization of police departments, this clearly goes, as my brother said, in terms of giving a global perspective, but I'm looking and want to deal right with Washington, D.C., where a lot of this is coming straight out of the Obama White House. They've given money to 6 cities, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Fort Worth, Texas, Birmingham, Alabama, Gary, Indiana, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I believe there's one more. Baltimore could be next in line with the money. But when you take the money, it comes with strings attached. So clearly this is what we're looking at. This is why I talked about the mayor being on the president's task force for 21st century policing. And we'll have to really slow walk that and talk about what are some of the policies, what are some of the practices, what are the procedures that they're laying out in that 21st century task force on policing because another component of that is that my brother's Keepers Initiative. And really, when I look back at it, I'm reminded of what Brother Steve Coakley warned us about, which was the weed and seed program that they had years ago, which they were going after gangs, but they needed to seed the community with money so they could weed out the gangs, is what they were saying. And they were talking about, of course, our young people. So this looks like it's no more than another component just warmed over again with the same trinkets that they're offering up. And so this is why we see a lot of talk about putting money back in Sandtown, Winchester, and the flooding of the community with a lot of the non-government organizations or non-godly organizations that are being bought in. So this is coming out of the White House at a time when our people are asking for justice. And justice would look like what we saw happen in Oakland, what's happened in Seattle, what happened in New Orleans when they charged those officers for killing our brothers who were just trying to get to safety during the height of Hurricane Katrina. So this kind of had some semblance of Katrina, and the aftermath, of course, was those 7 officers were charged. And so federally they were charged. And so this has to be what could be done if we had someone that really wanted to give us justice. But clearly what they're using, again, as I said before, is our hurt and our pain to get a political gain. And so that's what they're talking about, not about, again, charging these officers in terms of civil rights violations or human rights violations if we went to that next level. But what they basically want to do is come in and say to the police departments, through the mayor, through Commissioner Batts, is all we want to look at is your policy, practices, and procedures. They're not going to talk to activists in the community, real, organic, genuine grassroots activists. They're not going to talk to police officers' families. I mean, I defended a police officer who was shot 41 times, hit 23 times in 2011. The department, a good officer. He was so good, the hood had a vigil for him before the police department did. His name was William Corbin. But the Department of Justice didn't come in to look at what happened to that brother. They didn't come in and say, we're going to investigate this and we're going to charge, but that was a hit put on that brother. So we've had councilmen that was killed, like a good brother named Councilman Ken Harris who was killed. The Department of Justice never came in. We had a federal prosecutor, Jonathan Luna, back in 2003, 2004, was taking out a federal building downtown, a building that the FBI had security over. He was taken in 3 states, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, and finally killed in Pennsylvania. No, 4 states, Delaware. And he was stabbed 36 times and shot and drowned in a quarry. But the feds never came in to really investigate that. And to this day, that case hasn't been solved. That was a hit that was put on him. So we have to ask evil. Yes, sir, go ahead.
I'm sorry. In fact, didn't they say that it was a suicide?
Yeah, they tried to rule that his death was a suicide. And none of the federal politicians, from Elijah Cummings to Sarbanes to Rupersberger to Barbara McCoskey, they said nothing about what happened to Jonathan Luna at all. And to this day, that case still remains open. I mean, the FBI had security. They got cameras in that federal building. He went through the toll. Whoever had him in the back of his car had to go through the toll booths, go through the tunnel, where all the cameras in the tunnel. Yet we have seen one picture of his Honda Accord coming out of that federal building downtown. And so this is what we've been seeing going on in Baltimore City. But getting back to the federalization of the police department, this has been a planned policy from the time Obama came in. You not only talk about federalizing the police, you talk about Obama Corps. They got FEMA Corps now. They got other National Guard Corps academies that they're using in terms of young people and people in this local spy network we're talking about. So as you're talking about, be careful, because that person that could be out there on the front line protesting with you may be one of those operatives that they sent in. So they create the problem to get the reaction to come in and be even more suppressive toward our community. So our communities and organizations, unfortunately, are honeycomb with those kind of characters and individuals right now. But all of this goes right back to the White House. All this goes back to the Department of Justice. And my brother can bear witness that the Department of Justice was at the meetings with the ministers, with the clergy response teams, and told them if they wanted to stay out after the curfew, I'll let him tell it. But I had a pastor who I know, he said he got one of the pastors and he wanted to give it to me so that I would have it for my records. But it ain't just the clergy. They brought in their media personality, the Jeff Johnsons, the Tom Joyners. These people are the National Spy Network on radio. That Jeff Johnson was hosting a meeting, but I'll let my brother tell it. But all of this is part of the nationalization of the police departments tied to what's happening with the business community, because then they come behind and push what they call the 3 Ps, public-private partnerships, where they're now coming in to privatize everything that they can in these cities right now. And they know that people are going to rebel against that, because they got to bust down your unions. They got to bust down your jobs. They got to get rid of your teachers, your janitors. They got to get rid of everybody. So they know the people are not going to go for that, so they got to use again, the police to say that we need to revamp the police department, or we're going to purge. Since they were using the word purge, we got to purge the good officers and get them up out of here. Then we can bring in the officers that we want, that we know, as they've been asking a question to men in the military, will you fire on American citizens? It's going to be black first, but it'll be black, brown, red, yellow, and white. And so likewise, they're doing it within the police departments, to purge the police departments of officers who will say, well, I believe in the Constitution. I believe in, again, natural law. I'm not going to be shooting and killing people because you told me to go and do it. And so this is what we're looking at right now that's going on, unbeknownst to most of the people. So that's part of the federalization of the police, because then you start making, under Homeland Security, under the Patriot Act, crimes that would normally be state crimes, they now use them and make them federal crimes. So they can put more people in prison. And the malls, as we saw the use of Mondawmin Mall, the malls are now what they call the ECOs, the emergency command centers, is what they're using these malls for. Walmarts are closing. They'll begin to use these super Walmarts for fusion centers, a place where you could take people and basically hold people there. This is what we saw. That's why I said what happened in Baltimore was good. For those who got our eyes open, we could see the bigger picture in terms of what was being laid out and played out in front of our people. But that's all part of the federalization, the militarization. If you saw all the heavy tanks and weaponry that they brought out in Baltimore, it made Ferguson look like a cakewalk. When you look at everything they brought out, and it came out last week in the Washington Post, the FBI, in terms of the surveillance that they had, planes flying over, the NSA brought in microwave ovens. So that's what we saw. What about the weapons that we didn't see that they were using? So this is a lot of the continued militarization, which is escalated under the Obama regime, the 1033 program, and, of course, the Israelization, because we got a heavy Baltimore outside of New York City. It's probably more populated with the Zionists in the state of Maryland than any other state outside of New York City. So when I mentioned the NAACP earlier, one of the bed wenches of the NAACP, Tessa Hill, she was the president of NAACP with a group called Shum Rim. They operate in New York and they operate in Baltimore. But most of the chiefs go to Israel for training, most of the chiefs of the major cities. But we had, just a sidetrack, we had a young brother got his arm broke up in Park Heights, which we refer to as Israel because it's where the predominantly outlet between the Jewish community and the black community. Upper Park Heights. This brother had his arm broke by two brothers, Eli and Ivey Werdersheim. And then the mayor told the president of the NAACP, as one of the young brothers who went to the school, Northwestern, where this young brother went, said that the mayor told him to dissolve that high school chapter of the NAACP, and she didn't want them students telling what Shum Rim was doing to the students up there. They're basically rolling up on the bus stop, taking young brothers and sisters' pictures, profiling them, and who knows where they were storing that information. Until one day the young brother got his arm broke because they claimed he was looking at somebody's car. And that case went to court, and those two guys got off, man. It was alleged that they paid the family and paid the lawyer who was supposed to be representing them, J. Wendell Gordon. He called himself the Warrior lawyer. We said, no, you the Hoya lawyer or the Goya lawyer, but you're definitely not the Warrior lawyer. And so now they make him a big Negro so that they put him on TLC and put him on Nancy Grace. You know how they do it. We're going to make you a big Negro now. And so that's what happened, but they wanted to crush that story so that our people would never know what really happened to that young brother and what was happening to other young people that was just walking to school or walking from school. So this is what we see in terms of, again, the militarization, the Israelization, and the federalization of the police departments. It's only going to expand right now, is what they want. And it comes with major mass strings attached for these local police departments once they let them in. And they can't come in unless you invite them in. That's why they keep saying the mayor asked the Department of Justice to come in. And I got to add this other point, that the week before the Freddie Gray incident went down, the gentleman who heads up the COPS program, his name is Ronald Davis, a black guy. He was at the National Action Network convention with Al Sharpton and the attorney for the Gray family, Billy Murphy. I mean, this is all public record. She's like, if this not a ruse, it sure is looking like a ruse when you start connecting the dots. He was there and got an award from Al Sharpton. So you say, how is a man who's supposed to be representing the Justice Department at the National Action Network with a known FBI informant, Agent CI7 and B19? Sound like a damn section at Oyo Stadium or the Ravens Stadium, right, brother?
That's right.
Oh, man. So we're dealing with a situation Okay, this is what I need to know. With that said, because we got a lot of people on the line, they want to ask you some questions. Let me ask this last question, then we're going to go to two things. I'm going to ask this, then I want y'all to talk about this white sex problem in Baltimore, then we go into our lines. But my question to you is, what are some of the practical steps that are reasonable and realistic that black people in Baltimore and around the country can do to begin to defend ourselves against what the Europeans obviously have in store for us?
Okay. Brother David, we'll start with you, brother.
Well, that depends on the worldview of the community. You know, when we delve into the depth of the spiritual aspect of it, more often than not, our people, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that, as Brother Copley said. You have a connection and a descendancy from the Almighty Creator that is just so far beyond the reach of man that we don't know how to call on Him. And one of the things that He did say that stuck so deep in the core of my soul was He said, listen, you're getting down to the wire. And whatever it is you believe in, you better be able to call on it to prove itself unto you. If you can't do no more than call on it in the power of a thunderstorm, you better be able to do something. Because right now we're exercising those pistols and guns against one another, but we're not paying attention to those who are actually gearing up for battle against us. And there is no other way to say that. We got a bunch of preachers that are coming and pray. I heard a preacher pray the day of the funeral for dear Brother Freddie Gray. We heard a minister stand there and pray and ask the Almighty to bless the officers and their family for the evil that they've done.
No.
I've never heard such foolishness in my life. But nevertheless, they're not preparing the people. They're not even preparing the people on the depths of a voter registration drive, and I don't even believe in that. So I'm just saying they're prepping the community for a bloodbath. Right. And this time around, they intend on bathing us in our own blood. But we right now, we have an intelligence network in this town that's so deep up on us now, man, that if we thought we were swimming in it in our eyeballs before, we haven't seen anything. And that's the aspect of the community that we got to fight.
I'm asking you, so just give me three, if you can think of three practical things that we can do to begin preparing ourselves to defend our interests. Just three practical things.
The most practical thing, rule number one, I suggest you better pray. You better ask the Heavenly Father to give you the guidance to tell you what to do. Number two, you better exercise the rights given from the Almighty as men to be able to prepare yourselves to do two things. Be able to feed yourselves, sustain yourselves, and number two, be able to defend your ground and your position wherever you are. We better be ready to fight. There's no other way to say that.
Yes, sir. Brother Daren Muhammad.
Yes, sir. Well, as the Most High Elijah Muhammad said, we should all have a survival kit. So I've been telling people, stock up on your food, stock up on your water. You can stock up on Navy beans. Navy beans is one of the items the Most High Elijah Muhammad gave us because it can withstand nuclear radiation, and rats can't gnaw through the Navy bean. The Navy bean, if you take it with a hammer and you crush it, it dissolves into a powder. You can put the powder in a form in the water, and you can drink it. It gives you 21 of the 22 amino acids that's in the body. So those are things that our people have to begin to do. Stock up on their medicines if they're taking medicines. Stock up on, again, first aid kits if they have first aid kits. Stock up on whatever armory that they have. This is what white folks are doing all around the country right now. That's another part of the war. The patriots and the preppers, they call them doomsday preppers. They know what's coming and stock up and keep some cash. Put some money in your home. Don't get caught when them EBT machines get shut down. Don't get caught when they make a run on the banks as they're getting ready to come with this currency reset that's coming. Don't get caught out there like that. So you have to be wiser today is what our people have to do. Of course, get to know your neighbors. I keep telling people, because when you're at war, the first thing you got to have is an army. And if you don't know your neighbors, then, of course, you don't know who's with you, who's against you.
Excellent. Those are all practical things that we all can do. All right, so let's do this because I don't know how much longer our callers are going to let me go without letting them get a chance to come in here and speak to you, brothers. I might get in some trouble, and I don't want to do that. I want to remind brothers and sisters that are listening, first of all, you listen to an outstanding program, so we hope you're enjoying it. That we're looking for some more donators to help us fund what we're going to do to defend the interests of African people worldwide and our straight Black Pride movement, and specifically War on the Horizon and the work that we're doing, like what we're doing here tonight. Liberation at War on the Horizon. Please contact us. Let us know you want to give, whether it's $20 a month, $100 a month, or $1,000 a month. Whatever you want to give per month to help support what we're doing, it comes out automatically. We make it a real easy process, and there's some perks and benefits that come with it as well. So with that, all right, I want you brothers to just briefly give us a rundown of the degree to which the white sex offenders, which homosexuals, pedophiles, whatever you want to call them, we call them white sex offenders, to the degree to which they have a stronghold over control of the politics and economics of Baltimore City.
Let me yield all that time that I would have used exclusively to my dear brother. Let me defer to him on that. Now let him run. You don't mind, do you, Brother Muhammad?
Wait a minute.
Is he there?
Brother Daren? He's still on, but
is he? If not, I'll run with that. I mean,
yeah, if you can run with it for me, because he's not, and he must have been put the phone down.
Let me say this, because one of the things that I do love is that's his area of expertise, and I never try to step on a brother's toes in that particular realm. But as a minister, one of the things that we do have to get across to that is that this is putting the community in a social setting where the death style, as I believe you brothers have said, it's perfect. The death style that they have chosen, it is just that. This city is being overrun exclusively now by way of talk radio through the gay and lesbian rights agenda, where that's all that seems to be now taking over the airwaves. And it's solidifying itself in ways behind closed doors with the political arena, with the police departments being able to overrun communities with that. With all of the things that are now being put in place in the communities nationwide, this is the one agenda where you had better not, as Woodrow Wilson said, you had better not speak above your breath in condemnation of it unless you're ready and willing to fight and, if necessary, give your life. And as brother laid that thing out, these things are starting whereby even the agendas of this are now taking over in the public school systems. These are things that are saturating the minds of our children as far as second and third grade. So as brother oftentimes lays that out on his broadcast in particular, these are things that the community is not readily available to see, or they haven't really been stood up in a way to see the depth of this gay, lesbian, transgender movement as it takes place. And again, they're so heavily inundated within our community that oftentimes you don't even know who's who until they decide to step up to the plate and out themselves, or as they say, come out of the closet and acknowledge this. So we're in an era of time now where it's safe to be a homosexual man, and it's detrimental to one's well-being to stand up and be a real black man. But we have to stand up, and we got to be men. There's no way around that.
So is it safe to say that at all different levels of government and politics and economic control of the city, that in one way or the other, homosexuals have substantial power, far more than black people?
Yes, we definitely have to say that. And we have to look at it from a perspective that, again, as all of these things, as brother mentioned, the non-governmental organizations, there are multi-million and billion-dollar foundations that are in this town on the ground floor that will finance and give funding to programs that are run exclusively by these gay and lesbian, transgender people quicker than they will people who give money for after-school programs to help young males that are able to read or just struggling in their working. So again, that funding trickles up from the ground floor, the local community activist who's out in the community, able to rape and or molest children and get away with it and remain unopposed. It's in the school system. It's on the police force. It's in City Hall. It's in the governor's mansion. It's in those corporate boards. And again, these are the things that even the media sanctions and pumps heavily into the heart and minds of the black community. So as we look at all these things and as it unfolds, all that has to be put in place.
Okay, my brother, you know what? Maybe my brother.
I'm here. Yes.
Yeah, maybe my brother hung up and gonna call back. Let me see.
Okay.
Brother Daren Muhammad, if you can hear me, text me and let me know if you call back from a different number, what number you called from, because we definitely want to get you back in here so that you can continue to have the conversation. But I don't see you at that same number you were on just now that hung up on us. So give me a call back and let me know. I'm gonna send me a text. Let me know what number you're calling from, and we'll get you back on. So okay. So let me. I know I said we're gonna go to our phone calls, but I gotta ask you one more question based on what you just dropped. I guess you all. I found out when I came to that meeting that you all already knew who I was. So trying to play incognito doesn't work too often now. So but since you're saying that it's such a threat to anyone who speaks out against this, then my question is, with me being probably for black people the most outspoken person against this death style over the last 10 or 15 years, or at least one of the top 5, I would probably say number 1. What does that mean for me and Warner Horizon, our group that are very loud and outspoken against it?
It means that you're a man. Let me see if I got this straight. One of the things that Hollywood's done, I'm going to go around the block just to make a particular point. Speaking from a Hebrew's perspective, we know that the scripture says he created man and he made him in his, and he gave him something. Hollywood has taken what he has given to man. They played with this. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, the people were running and singing and dancing, saying that we're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. But now that same word, Oz, that ooze in Hebrew, O-Z, it means a level of strength. It's a level of strength and character that can only be given to real men by the Almighty who made them in his image. Now, for a man to stand and to declare that and to go up against the wickedness of that lifestyle, we have the historic record that shows in every civilization on the planet, wherever that type of lifestyle took over, it was not too far behind it when devastation, destruction, and damnation fell upon that nation. So to you, what does it mean? It means that you stand up, black man, because you'll be surprised how many more of us will stand up with you to the end as we defend what we know to be the points of origin of civilization, true man and womanhood. So you stand, and we stand with you on that.
Yes, sir. My brother Daren, you back.
Yes, sir. Well, no, I agree with what my brother said. And when we see these kind of tactics that's used by the intelligence community, the first thing they want to do when they see a strong brother, a strong sister that's taking a strong stand against them, of course, their job is always to try to isolate them. You know what I mean? Then when you isolate them, you try to manipulate them if you can. And, of course, if you can't isolate them, you can't manipulate them, then they try to find out what's your source of your funding so they can cut your funding off. They want to cut off your base. You know what I mean? Then they got to, of course, get either their local spy networks, or they got to get their media spy networks, or they'll get their national spy networks to attack you. You know what I mean? What's wrong with him? He don't like Obama. Instead of saying, what's wrong with Obama, that he don't like you for what he's doing toward you. You know what I mean? But this is what has happened with our people under the age of Obamaism. They've lost all their sanity and humanity right now. They've lost everything. We were the moral compass in this country. But under the age of Obama, even our black leaders have compromised on their principles for Obama. He's a drug, as Brother Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. said, the drug that's more colder than crack that's been dropped on the black community since crack is Obama. It makes brothers get brothers get a candy crush, and it makes sisters just get amnesia. That everything they lost in terms of their sons, their husbands, their men, I say if they fight as hard for their men and their boys and their lovers as they do for Obama, when somebody say something about him, wouldn't be a damn brother in jail. They would move heaven or hell for their men. But when you say something about Obama, who they didn't even know 10 years ago, they go crazy on you and want to attack you. So this is what you've had to face. I've had to face. Brother David had to face. Professor Griffiths had to face. Anybody that would take that kind of stand today, that's what we've had to face. And that's why I say we've had to unite with each other, because we are all we got right now. We are the light among our people right now. We're the ones that can give vision and make what seems to be complex simplistic for our people right now, to be able to say, no, this is where you want to go. But we got to break that destructive magnetic attraction that they have to not just Obama, but they got it down to Al Sharpton. They got it down to these operatives like Jesse Jackson. And so we have to break that from our people. And we got to break it with truth. We got to break it with the facts. And so let's look at the facts and look at the acts, man. All this marching, you ain't got one bill passed. You ain't saved one black life. Al Sharpton hang out with more damn bills than getting any bills passed. He hang out with Bill Clinton, Bill de Blasio, Bill Bratton, but he ain't got no damn bills passed. after the death of Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Kendrick Johnson. We can call a roll. Ask our people what damn bills that they got passed, what acts have they got passed. They just been a damn act, like P.T. Barnum and that traveling circus today. Jamal Brown, what have they got passed? Nothing.
Only bills they got passed. Only bills they got passed are those dollar bills to their own hands.
Dollar bills, you got that right, brother. Dollar bill, y'all. That's the only thing that got passed. While we're losing all of our rights, and we see this continued attack on our people. So no, we have to stand. And what we've seen out of the book John Coleman talked about, the Committee of 300. He talked about, of course, the normalization of homosexuality, the normalization of pornography, the normalization of drugs. This is what we're seeing that's coming down the pike right now against our people. And so when you stand up against it, they're basically taking the LGBTQ community and have tried to hijack our movement and say our movement is their movement, and we say hell no. When our people were being killed and fighting, we were fighting, of course, to confront what was going on in the boardroom, not what was going on in the bedroom. So they try to take the Baynard Rustins and others and say that this was our movement. And we say, hell no, it wasn't your movement. And so we have to stand strong when we hear brothers like yourself and see brothers like yourself standing strong against that. But this is where we are because, as my brother David said, that they know that they can create this confusion among our young people. And so we have to look at what are they putting in the water? What are they putting, of course, in the food? In terms of, we know that soy milk and soy products can change the genetic makeup of a man and a woman. We know of the professor out there, Dr. Tyrone Hayes at UC Berkeley, talking about atrazine and that's used in Roundup, that's used in fertilizer. But they would use it on frogs, and it was changing the male makeup of the frog to a female frog. We know what Dr. Scott Whitaker's talked about tilapia fish like Obama. Wasn't no Obama on our tables 10 years ago. Wasn't no damn tilapia fish on our tables. But they take genetically modified fish and they sell it to our people, and we don't even realize the effect that it's having on the men, on the women, and on the children. But this is what they've done all throughout time in terms of, again, that death style and try to sell it to our people as a lifestyle. But they got to do that in order to be able to use it as a form of population control, because they understand we're getting younger with a younger, stronger, vibrant youth population, and the whites are getting older, and they're at a zero birth rate. For the most part, so they're clear on how all this ties into that.
Well, y'all got the phones, and I'm not even exaggerating. Y'all got them lit up. We ain't been lit up like this. Y'all got like it's like a crack of 4th of July up in here or something like that because it's lit. So look, this is what we're gonna do, fam. We're gonna come to these brothers. I need you to be quick tonight, though. We don't have time to spend. I know a lot of time we spend 10, 15, 20 minutes. I need you to ask one question or one comment, because we got a lot of people that want to come on and talk to these brilliant brothers of ours that's dropping all this knowledge and gracing us with this wisdom tonight. So please come in. Remember, no N-word. And when you come in, it's praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, and long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. We don't negotiate on that. We just ask you to support us with that. As a matter of fact, as my brother worked with Dr. Coakley as well, then we're going to say praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all that he has done for us. That's what we're saying tonight.
Sure.
Let me go to my first call, 4360. Quick question or comment. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all that he's done for us.
Praise Nat Turner, long live Marcus Garvey, and of course we praise Khalid Muhammad. We definitely know that for years and years and years.
And give me one for Steve Coakley as well, sister.
Yes, of course, Steve Coakley, of course. Now, from what was been said, this is happening in other cities. It's interesting in D.C. D.C. instead of with the adults, that the problem with the prostitution, it went down to the children. I mean, from age 6 to 17. This is the latest of Daryl Best, and had a whole history beforehand. And also within Oklahoma, where that came from. That had a corruption, especially getting the federal contract dollars in.
Can I get a quick question or comment? We got a lot of phone calls.
Okay. Brother Daren, I remember many a time that you tell this out of the cavity searches. I remember it stopped when you brought it up on your show.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, sister. Give thanks and on the move. Yeah, that was a key question. Yes. There was another policy of the Baltimore City Police Department, as Malcolm X always talked about, the social degradation. They take grown men in front of their wives and children, man, and pull them out the car in public. And we do cavity searches on these brothers, man. Some of the brothers settled out of court, but just the mere fact you were robbing black men of their dignity. And it wasn't just men, women as well. All of this was part of the zero tolerance policy that was going on, these Gestapo tactics that they were using in the city of Baltimore. And the last brother, I think he won like $100,000. I mean, these are the kind of things they would tell him, man. We've had brothers told me the police pull up on the corner and say, now, either all y'all can go to jail or all y'all can take this kick in the ass, man. And they bend over and take a kick in the ass. This has been like standard operating procedure in the city of Baltimore for years under Martin O'Malley, and continued under Sheila Dixon, and continued under Stephanie Rawlings, continued under the numerous police commissioners that he had in terms of robbing black men, black youth of their dignity, man. In the city, we had a 7-year-old that we fought, Gerard Mungo. He's 14 now. They arrested him because they wanted to take his little pocket dirt bike that he was sitting on, 9 cc's or 10 cc's. Police officer drive by, see a brand new little boy sitting on a bike, waiting for his father to come and get him. Wasn't driving the bike, but sitting on the bike. The police wanted to steal the bike, took the bike from the little boy. The mother goes in the house and calls for a supervisor. The supervisor comes to the house with this police officer, Officer Coburn, William Coburn. And then what the police officers did, they arrested the little boy in front of his mother and took him to the Eastern District Police Station and chained him to a bench. 7 years old, man. And said to the mother, we doing this because you called my supervisor. And then they continue to intimidate the family. 2 weeks later, the little boy's out. He gets out that night. 2 weeks later, they come back and lock his mother up, Lakeisha Dinker. She's in the house with 11 people. They having a birthday party. After we had a rally for them that morning, they come back at about 4 o'clock and lock the mother up just to make an example out of her. We were able to get her out in terms of through some brothers that we know, police officer Sergeant Lou Hobson, that work in Central Booking. But this is what this police department has done. That case went to court. Attorney Aiden White Pettit handled the case. We were leading many of the demonstrations against the police department to the point that they asked for a change of scenery. The first judge denied it then because of the political connections, which we eventually have to get into, how corrupt the judges are, how corrupt the state's attorneys are. All of this is in Baltimore City. So, therefore, they allowed them to move the case to Howard County. They moved the case to Howard County, and then what happens, the jury rules in favor of the little boy. But because the jury was so racist, they said, we found all the police officers guilty. It was 5 of them, but they wouldn't give the family not one damn dime. They took it all the way to the appeals court, and the court ruled, I believe, in favor of the police officers. But this is what our people has had to deal with. So now take that little brother and multiply him by the thousands in the city of Baltimore.
That's
and you'll
right.
see what they created, as the old saying goes in terms of Frankenstein. Whatever you create yesterday, you're going to eventually face today. So this has been the policies that's been going on in the city of Baltimore to harden our young people toward the racism and the white supremacy that's been existing in the city of Baltimore. And with, again, collusion from public officials that did nothing and said nothing, man.
Wow, let me go to my next call. Man, y'all got me over here about to shed a tear, man. I've been through police brutality, and everything you talking about, just about I done experienced. So it
Yes,
hurts,
sir.
man.
Yes.
0961. Praise Nat Turner. Glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Steve Coakley for all that he's done for us.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all that he has done for us.
Yes.
I'm listening to you, and I just want to say, in reference to what the brother said earlier about we need to pray, I just want to say that we do need to pray, but this is revelations from what I'm beginning to see and understand, that we're living in the time and the days where we're fighting, it's good against evil. And I really do believe that it's time for us to choose sides because we've been living straddling the fence. And it's time for us now to say and declare and to say that we do not subscribe to evil. We do not subscribe to fear. We do not subscribe to hatred. We are going to have to declare in our minds and in our hearts what it is that we do not subscribe to. And we need to start doing that now.
And let me do this.
And I know
we
you have other callers, and
I think that's
I
an
want
excellent
to
point.
thank you for giving me a chance to speak. Thank you. I thank you for giving me a chance to speak on your show.
Thank you. Excellent point, Sister May. I heard one of the brothers wanted to say something.
Yeah, let me say this, just for sake of clarity, because being a minister, I do need to get this in here. A lot of times we have a sad and or a mistaken notion. A lot of people they don't really delve into the scriptures like they ought to. But having been written in that ancient African language of the Hebrew, then it is imperative that you not throw it away. So then I would advocate that the people look in the book and don't look at the book through the European eyes, because, see, they didn't understand what they were touching. So when we say pray, we're meaning pray in the construct of you're asking the Almighty Father for not just his blessing to live in peace with them, because you're not living with the peaceful. But what you have to ask for is the power and the permission that if it comes to that you be able to go up against them and to be victorious. King David prayed in one of the Psalms, in Psalm 144. He did say, "Blessed art thou, Yahweh, who teacheth my hands to fight and my fingers to war." That wasn't a coward's prayer. He was acknowledging the power of the Almighty to give him the strength that when it was time to stand up and go up against an enemy, that he prayed for permission first. I'm not one of those preachers where I believe in you just pray, and nothing happens. Come on, you got to get up and you got to do some work. So I do want to add clarity to that when I tell the people that the messengers of that book, if you read that book close, that book's bloody, because those men had to fight. They had to declare. They had to stand for nationhood. So we want to be clear in that. This isn't one of those Al Sharpton type scenarios. This isn't one of those Nancy Jackson scenarios. We're praying for permission that if we have no other alternative than to fight, you have something that's going to do a drawdown on it, unlike anything that Hollywood has ever been able to construct in our minds.
Beautiful. So let me go, because we got a lot of calls on here, so I want to do it. And I just real quick before I go to my next call, I said I pray every day for dead crackers. So I think I'm somewhere in the middle of the two of those things. Let's see, we're gonna go to we got a caller here from our anonymous number. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all that he's done for us.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, and long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And absolutely, we want to thank Brother Steve Coakley for all that he's done for us, and continue to do for us through his teachings and his work. How you doing, Jeannie? And good evening to your guests.
Sister Lacey.
Basically, I want to touch on the fusion center issue, because Bush ushered that stuff in back in 2003, and it's just like they come in and they take over, and with the local law enforcement, and not just that. And then once you get federal funding behind that, I mean that's just the bottom line. Your local law enforcement is null and void at that point, because once the federal funds get involved, then it's their show. And so when you said that the black men and women would be the last ones to be compliant in this, which also means that if that's the case, they can't allow the youth to grow, to fill the shoes of the adults either. So one prong of this six-city takeover, in my opinion, will be that, it's going to be a school, what I call a school to federal prison pipeline, because we already have them arresting our youth or grade schoolers and giving them criminal records for things that, to me, only warrant a in-school suspension at the most. You know what I mean? I mean, when do we start putting handcuffs on children who, for little things that, fighting and just rebelling and arguing with the teacher? When do we call police into this situation as opposed to the principal or whoever the authority, to be able to, in the school, the authority in the school being able to handle it? So this is what I see. I see that they're targeting our youth because as they systematically wipe the adults out and remove the adults from the situation by locking our brothers up and and our sisters too. We can't forget about the sisters that's on lock. They then have to go after the youth so that they cannot replace that genre of people. So and that's how I see it. But I love what you brothers are doing. The energy on the show is just awesome. So keep up the good work, please. And Abibi Fahodie.
All right, that's a warrior right there, warrior queen we got with us right there. That's just you one on your team. Let me go to my brother in Cincinnati. Praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and thanks Steve Coakley for all that he's done for us.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and I thank Steve Coakley for all the work he has done for us. And I bear witness there is no other God but I.
There's no God but He. How you doing, boy?
I'm doing all right. I'm gonna be real short. I'm just happy that one brother's a Muslim, right, and the other brother's Hebrew Israelite, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm just happy to see, that we starting to kind of like put our ideology differences to the side and come together because we all believe basically in righteousness, truth, and balance. You know what I'm saying? So the difference between us is really not that much. So I just, I'm glad to see that we starting to do that, and that hopefully that can become bigger, that we can really unify as black people instead of being fragmented and all these different things which really is the same thing, it's just different titles.
That's, okay. And I thank you for calling up, bro. I'm going to mention that, and I'm going to let these brothers say whatever they want to say to that. To my brother, and he always calls with a poignant point. This brother here, I got to let him say his little, let me let him say his piece to goodbye, and then I do it because I know y'all want to hear that. Go ahead and give your salutation, brother, and then I'm going to go ahead and...
Straight black pride got me putting crackers in the trunk.
Somebody got to do it. Yes, sir. All right. One of the things, and I want the audience to hear this because I meant to say this in the beginning of the program. This is true, though. I really appreciate. First of all, these brothers are so committed to our people. I forgot that one of them was Muslim and one of them was Hebrew Israelite, and it ain't even dawned on me. These are two different religious brothers here because they so together in what they're saying. But it was very interesting. I had asked Brother Daren Muhammad to do the program, and he wasn't around. And when I asked the brother Reverend David, the minister here, I didn't even know the brother was a minister. He never even told me that. He just came as a brother. But when I talked to him, I said, look, I want you to be on with the brother because y'all brothers had such a good flow. The brother was so respectful. He said, well, you already talked to Brother Daren, and I don't want to disrespect what you have already had. If he says it's okay, then I would be honored to do it. So I called Brother Daren, wondering how it's going to go, and I said, well, I was asking the brother. He said, oh, yeah, you got to have him on. I said, yeah, this is what we do. I said, man, this is what I'm talking about. Black men, it ain't about egos. It's about two brothers who know they got the knowledge and information coming to drop it. So I love what we're seeing here, unity.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right, let's go to Yes, 06.
Just want to quickly, before you bring up that call, just to mention the fusion centers. Well, and as I said before, everything that we saw that took place in Sandtown, Winchester, was rehearsed. 2 years ago, they had drills that took place in that same community. It was called the West Baltimore Public Safety Initiative. Just as in Ferguson, 2 years before Ferguson, they had a drill. It was the Maryland National Guard and the Missouri National Guard. And when the Maryland National Guard left, they left their equipment right there in Ferguson, Missouri. And Ferguson, it was called the Greater St. Louis Street Initiative, in which all those areas were supposed to receive a certain amount of money. And, of course, it was about expanding that airport, the Lambert International Airport, and the people in Ferguson had been sitting on that land. So ultimately, they didn't want those people out so they can get that land. It used to be a community called Kinloch, and most of the people in Ferguson lived in before they uprooted them out of Kinloch, and they gave that land to the Lambert International Airport. And that's why they kept talking about the flights around that area of Ferguson with everything that was going on. But I just want to say, anything you see normally, they have drills. They have what's called a tabletop exercise. Before Katrina took place, they had a tabletop exercise called Hurricane Pam, which mirrored everything that they did during Hurricane Katrina. So normally when you see these things, it's a cause and effect, and they usually bring in military operatives like the group called the Craft, which was here in Baltimore, running things from behind the scenes. They were the same ones in Boston, running everything we saw at the Boston Marathon. That's a group that Chris Kyle started. You see the paraphernalia that they wear. There's not a skull and bones, but it's a skull called the Punisher that they wear on their clothing gear. So these people were behind the scenes running the governor, who's a Jesuit governor. He's also on the FEMA, they call it the regional governors, that the country will be broken down in 10 regions. Maryland is in Region 3. And so we saw this governor reach out to get National Guard from as far away as Ohio, which is in another FEMA region. Then he went all the way up to New Jersey, which is FEMA Region 2, and brought in National Guards and state troopers as far away from New Jersey. So this was an exercise that, of course, they wanted to carry out to see how well they would work together. And then, of course, they used bats. Bats was almost like Charles Moose, because everything you saw with that DC sniper was already planned. But bats was the new Charles Moose in the area that they have in this region, FEMA Region 3. So I just wanted to mention that in terms of the drills, because a lot of people haven't talked about the drills that they had and rehearsed in all those communities in West Baltimore, because in your cities they may be having these same drills as well as they have at the schools. When we talk about the militarization of police departments, they have the lone active shooter drills that your schools that get Homeland Security funds have to participate in. We came up at a time we did fire drills. The previous generation came up at a time they had the fallout drills for nuclear war, atomic war. But now they're doing lone active shooter drills in the schools, and sometimes they'll go live. So I just wanted to warn parents, because you got a right to know. I went to my children's school and said to the principal at the beginning of the year, I want to know every day at the beginning of the year that you plan to have these drills, because if I'm not here, I'm going to have somebody that can be within an ear distance and an eye distance of what's going on at the school. So I just wanted to share that with you, brother.
All right. Give me 1 second. I'm going to 0662. Just give me 1 second. I'm looking, man, we got this line lit up. We're going to 0662. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Steve Coakley for all that he's done for us. All right, they hung up. Oh, no, they didn't. 0662, all right, they just listening. 1150, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all that he's done for us. Okay, they just listening in. 4690, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work he's done for us.
Yes.
All right. We're going to anonymous caller, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the work that he's done for us. All right, they just tuning in. 9581, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the work that he's done for us. All right, they just tune in. Just give me 1 second. All right. 1191, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work he's done for us. All right, they just tuned in. Let's go to 7259, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work he's done for us. All right, 3947, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the work that he's done for us. All right, let me go ahead. All right, let me go to 8111, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work that he's done for us. All right. Give me a moment. All right. Let's see if we can get somebody that wants something to say. 8224, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work that he's done for our people. All right. Let's go 7624. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work he's done for our people.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Khalid Muhammad, and we're thankful to our brother Steve Coakley Give me 60 seconds real quick. Remember,
Yes,
brothers, Copeland talked about Operation Freeze Frame. Now, tell me, is this true? Because I was watching on YouTube where they were showing Brothers for the Nation of Islam lining up to protect the police. Was that accurate?
There, you want to take
Am I
that
here?
one?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yes,
well-
it was. I was there. I saw it with my own eyes.
Okay, so Coakley talked about Operation Freeze Frame. He also talked about hotests and protests, how well somebody articulate the problem, but when it's time to get into the solution, how we have a problem coming up with new ideals and new ways to respond to the solution. Coakley definitely talked about Operation in Bad Weather. He gave us a lot of strategic information that we need not sleep on. And to the question of what should we be doing as leadership, we need to be flooding Baltimore. Because Coakley said, you know, one of the things he liked to do was bringing the beast out of the cave.
Right.
And one of the tactical ways is getting into contact with our neighbors and asking them, can we host some of the activists that might be flooding into Baltimore? Do they got a little space where they can sleep at overnight instead of sleeping in hotels? You know, he talked about 6 million. You know, he talked about that 6 million. And he also talked about trading in leadership. You know what I'm saying? When brothers start worrying about their safety, are feeling so egomatic about themselves, if I'm gone, what will happen to the struggle? We need not fear none of that, because Fred Hampton summed it up well. He said you can kill a revolution, but you can't kill a revolution. And one thing that we know that the womb is going to produce our insurrector. You know what I'm saying? The womb is going to constantly produce, you know what I'm saying, our fighters and liberators. So we need not fear for ourselves, but we need to get better in our tactical response when we talk about solutions. You know, the beast flooding Baltimore, he talked about that 6 million strong. You know what I'm saying? He talked about, and so what are the ways that we could respond to this? You know, we could go to our neighborhood, organize them into block club associations, and ask who will be available to host some of these activists. We need to be flooding those areas. Because just like Jimmy was talking about when he went there and seen how they was changing the chant to All Lives Matter, we need to direct it back toward us. You know what I'm saying? We need to be up front in those positions. You know, instead of talking about sitting back and waiting for a reaction, you know, Coakley gave us proactive information. You know, in the Operation Freeze Frame, but check this out, one more point. Coakley by himself was neutralizing Boule and fraternity so much that recently they had a mass recruitment drive because brothers and sisters were going in as a result of one person, right, knew not to be part of that fraternity and sorority. So us in numbers, with the gifts that he's left us, you know, we need to be more creative in our solutions to this because we're going to have to respond to this. You know, in the fashion that he described.
I got to stop you right because we got a lot of calls. So go ahead, you respond to me. Thank you for the call.
Well, let me say this. Yeah, I think I better do this. This is really only incumbent to say that all that within and of itself is quite beautiful, but what the community has to pull out of this, and I hope that they know this, for 2 weeks straight, from the day that this brother died onward, myself and other brothers in the city, we were there. We were on the ground, boots on the ground. One of the things that we've been strongly opposed to, and I can acknowledge this, Brother Muhammad and myself, we worked stringently here in the Baltimore region because we had to almost shut down single-handedly the lecture circuit because people had taken the lecture circuit and brought speakers in, and they were monetizing the struggle for liberation in such a way that it made active organizing against the beast a major problem. Once that was shut down, people went into sleeper mode. And it was extremely difficult to get people into the streets because people have been lulled to sleep or have come back. When you walk the streets in the midst of thousands of brothers and sisters that are protesting, and every now and then you run into a face that you know, that's a problem. And see, that's not to disrespect us in the struggle, but it's to lay out the fact that we were winning a strategic battle, just as the caller said Coakley was single-handedly whipping them. The activist community in Baltimore has no idea why, when they bring in the national celebrities, the Sharptons, the Maliks, the Jessies, and others, when they bring them in, it's because you have effectively knocked out of the box the second tier, which is your local big-time preachers in the community, the FEMA-certified activist groups, the clergy response teams, and your local neighborhood organizations, as Brother Muhammad mentioned earlier. When you knock them out of the box, they got to bring in the local celebrities, the Ray Lewises, and all those guys to celebritize it. So we want to be clear that we have to get active and not be looking for FaceTime with CNN or CBS, but get out there and get known among the people.
That's right. Yes, sir. Clearly. I just want to add, as my brother said, probably one correction. He said Ray Lewis. We say Gay Lewis because, again, you talking about a lot of that. But, you think Michael Sam was wearing number 52 for himself? You think they was making Michael Sam a protege for himself? His role model is Gay Lewis, brother. That's his role model. All right?
I've heard it for years, but we might as well go. I'm asking the question. Are you saying emphatically, beyond a reasonable shadow of doubt, Gay Lewis is a punk?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. Beyond a shadow of anything. Gay Lewis. And you got some other ones on that Ravens team. But they don't, as my brother said, they tied to the Greater Baltimore Committee. They don't even pay a water bill. They don't pay a light bill. And they run around here, man. I know you said don't say the N-word, but these jigger gladiators, man, are another problem for our people. They're an obstacle to our people, particularly for our brothers. When we want to have demonstrations or we want to have meetings, man, we have to structure sometimes our meetings around when the Ravens going to play. Because the red, black, and green, they won't put away the red, black, and green for the purple and black, man. You know what I mean? so revolution better not come on a Sunday from August to February, brother. Because all of our people ain't going to make it, man. Let
me just throw this in the bucket real quick. We have two basic different categories for our people. The ones that are doing the wrong stuff but don't know, we call them lost. And then the ones that know what they doing, are fully aware that they supporting white supremacy. We call them Mobutus, like Mobutu Sese Seko, Joseph Mobutu.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Are you telling me that Ray Lewis is not lost, but he's a Mobutu? He knows what he's doing.
Oh, he's a Mobutu, man. I mean, he's in the order, man. He's taking the pledge. You understand? He's taking the pledge, man. He's in that order. That's why he talked about the NFL as a secret society. He knows he's taking the pledge. He's crossed the high burning sands for them, brother. Everybody know that in 1999, that bar where the two men was killed, that was a gay bar. He had a gay roommate that was killed stabbed multiple times with Ray Lewis, and nobody ever wants to talk about. Everybody know Ray. I mean, Ray, they call him, you go to the game, they call him Lisa Ray, brother. They ain't call him no Ray. All the brothers in the street know this, man. And I had a brother wrote a book about it, and the NFL told him he couldn't use the word murder after the Super Bowl. He had to change it to murder after the big game.
Wow.
But these are known facts and acts, brother. But I wanted to say that because the brother mentioned the Black Lives, and as I shared with you at the meeting, that was started by George Soros, man. That's not our movement. That's the LGBT hijacking our movement with that. Those set up 3 lesbian girls, man. These groups, and they funded these groups, Dream Defenders, the Disciples of Justice. I can give you a whole list of these organizations, man. They're not ours. These are strange fruit. That these are operatives that's been set up and funded by George Soros. It came out that he gave $33 million to fund those groups in Ferguson. And then Obama came in for a secret meeting. You can look the day after the midterm elections. He came in and had a secret meeting with the activists. And so I'm still waiting to ask Malik, was you there when he met with them? Shopton was there. Military operatives was there. And he used the same language that he used in the military to the military. Stay the course is what he said.
Wait a minute.
We know.
Wait a minute. Part of this I can answer. Wait a minute. Do you know when about they were there?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. What you said was interesting to me because do you know when about that meeting was had? Do you know what month?
Oh, yeah. It's November the 5th, the day after the midterm elections. It was written about. The Washington Times had a front page article talking about the London Times talked about it. Obama had secret meeting. You can Google it. Obama had wasn't even on his schedule. Obama had secret meeting in Ferguson with activists, and Shopton was there. Told him to stay the course. This is before the grand jury came back with their decision.
I got to tell y'all something. Y'all ain't going to believe this when I'm telling you, but this is real. Yeah, look, what you're saying, I didn't know that aspect. What I'm going to tell you right now, it falls completely 100% in line with you. The brother had scheduled a lecture for me to come to do the genocide lecture, to come in, and we thought it was going to be that weekend, but it ended up being the next weekend. But when they were going to do the thing, but this was deep. When I came the first time was in June or July. It was June or July. We had like 80 people, so it was the first time I came. It was a large crowd. They loved it. We did Mind Your Black Business. Those people who came to the first one bought tickets, and they were part of groups that were coming en masse to the next one. And once this thing happened in August, it was going to be an explosion of how many people we're going to have there for the genocide election.
Right.
We get there, and long story short, without going through the whole story again, by the time it's all said and done, we found out that the groups, these are Pan-African groups.
Yes,
they
sir.
have all been funded. And they told them, if you go see Irritated Genie in this lecture, you will lose your funding. You can no longer be a part of it. So the Pan-African black nationalist groups, none of them came to the event because they had been bought out by the homosexual groups. And we just had the brother on 2 weeks ago who started the thing in Ferguson, the young blood,
right.
who was a friend to Mike Brown and to the mother and to the family. He told us name by name of all of the homosexuals that have come there and taken over that movement from the young bloods in the street. So everything you saying falls perfectly in line to things I've witnessed and to the brothers on the ground are saying the homosexuals came and took this whole movement away from us.
That's right. That's right. And was planning to do it in Selma. And you'll soon see them do it here in Baltimore. They're honeycombed here in Baltimore. So we got a lot of brother David could attest to that, brother.
Let me jump in here with that because I got to mention this. There's some random fag named Ghazi. I mean, he's just some faggot on YouTube. I don't know how he got popular, but he's just a faggot. But he talks black stuff. The Uhuru movement under the leader of Oshitela in St. Petersburg, Florida, has openly joined with the LBGT movement. They stating it. We've joined with them. When they came to Ferguson, they brought this punk dressed in African clothes to speak up in Baltimore.
Yeah. Yep.
So we know that people are being funded by the homosexual movement to try to take over the activist Pan-African black nationalist conscious community. That's real talk.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. That's real talk, brother. You're right on it with that one, brother. We gotta expose it, you know. So again, as I said, it's no coincidence that we're having this conversation tonight. And we got to be willing to name the names, as Brother Steve Coakley would do. As I said, there's a homosexual cabal in Baltimore City. And Dr. Newton talks about it. Dr. Francis Quez-Wells, but particularly Dr. Newton, because she talked about how the Jesuits would break our fathers on those Jesuit plantations in the eastern shore of Maryland. So she said that mindset, which the body has, which is called nuclear neurons or mirror neurons, the red nuclei, then lays down tracks and mirrors that same behavior. So we see this cabal in Baltimore City, in the state of Maryland, but particularly in Baltimore City right now. That brothers, as Brother David said, we had to single-handedly on radio. You can't get but myself, Brother David, and one other brother that's giving up this kind of information on radio. And then so there's the local talk radio circuit that's honeycombed with homosexuals and brokebacks. Then there's the next layer of the Tom Joyner brokeback crew. You know what I mean? All of them are brokebacks. I'm telling you what I know. From Joyner to a Harvey to a Ricky Smiley to a D.L. Hughley, all of them. They push their homosexual agenda, brother. That's their job. I mean, it's Shofton and anybody who don't go along with it. I mean, C. Miles exposed this before he left Baltimore. This is the reason why he got beat down. They wanted him to do a show with Larry Young. I mean, there's a known homosexual pedophile in Baltimore City. I ain't telling you something that all of the elders don't know. I ain't telling you something that the Muslims in the Nation of Islam don't know. And I tell them, why do you hang out with this man, knowing what he's done to our people, knowing the blood he got on his hands? And then you don't get no credibility from the community when you're hanging out with him and you bring him around the leader. You lose respect for the people when you do that. So all of it has to be brought to the surface, man. It's going to be painful, but we can't free our people unless we give them this information.
Bro, you just hit me with bombs. Wait a minute. Are you telling me the WOL, Larry Young that I've always heard about for years, listening to WOL when I was coming up, is a punk?
Brother, they want to C. Miles to work with him. C. Miles said, I can't work with him. He has no credibility. So then Ligon said, well, we can solve that problem, and that's the son of Miss Kathy Hughes, and they got rid of C. Miles, man. But there was the C. Miles knew what they was doing in them hotels, the little boys. Even though C. Miles had been in a fraternity, he refused to be a part of that, man. So he knew that information. And because C. Miles wasn't from Baltimore, he didn't have he had strong brothers, but he didn't have all the intimate information to connect it like myself and Brother David could do. And I brought C. Miles back here to Baltimore. Brother David could tell you, we had a big dinner for him. And the radio station came to me and warned me. They couldn't warn me because they don't scare me. But Howard Mazer, the Jew who runs the general manager, he said, you know what happened last time C-Miles was here? I said, I don't care what happened. You know what I mean? And we brought him to the studio. The studio was ghost. Was nobody there but the one little white lady that runs security. Everybody else left the damn building, man. They were still afraid of C-Miles. Everybody left.
You saying WOLB, the managers of small hats?
Yes. Yeah. They control their funding. They control their advertisement. They took me off the airwaves because I wouldn't stop talking about how the police department killed the councilman. And he asked me would I stop talking about the woman that the police officer that the brother was with when Councilman Harris was killed. She was a wife of a police officer. I told Mason, you don't tell me what to talk about on my show because I don't work for you. I said, you run your station, I run my show because I pay to do my customized show. And after that, the die was set from there. They worked to remove me from the airwaves. But it was all right because when one door closed, another one opened. So I was only on 1 day a week over there. Now then I moved to 5 days a week, but I'm back on 3 days a week on another station. So, what he had planned, God had planned for bigger reasons. So no, this has been a problem.
Well, let's y'all dropping bombs. Let me go to my next call, because y'all, you be so many bombs, y'all, you can't nobody get into all the smoke. Let me go 5352. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the work he's done for our people.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Thanks to Steve Coakley for all the work he's done for our people. A question about the politics of Baltimore, seeing as though Baltimore has been controlled by the Democrats for like 50 years. They got the black woman Democrat mayor, black Democrat city council, the black prosecutor. Being as though the situation how Baltimore has turned into, I want to know how like Baltimore feels about the Democratic Party, being as though they've been in control for so long and they haven't seen any progress. And if y'all think, first, it'll be checked on the local level and then on the national level. Basically, the Democrats are not friends to black people.
Well, in this town, we have to realize and be able to recognize, in the book, America's Secret Establishment by Anthony Sutton, on page 88, Sutton alludes to something called the Baltimore Scheme. Now, what most of us have to be able to understand, despite the religious differences, is when spiritual conditions hover over a people, the spiritual conditions are things that attack the mind, the body, and the soul. So when the people have been so brainwashed or so spiritually debilitated to a point that they don't understand, whatever the Baltimore scheme was that dates back into the 17th century, we got to look at whatever it is that holds this city down. And the reality is, truth be told, it makes no difference who's in office, Democrat or Republican. We've got to understand that George Wallace got shot for saying that there's not a dime's worth of difference between the Democrats or the Republican, because it's all, at the end of the day, controlled by the same, as we would call it, the elitist organization. Black Baltimore, however, has just really failed to grasp that because its leadership has never really stood up and said that the answer is not in this man's politics. Right. So that's the key, again, as Brother Muhammad was saying earlier. We're fighting in this town to simply wake the people up to the construct of a do-for-self campaign. When we say do-for-self, we got to do it on all levels.
That's right. Clearly. Yes, sir.
All right. Let me go to 5125, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all that he's done for us.
I'm just listening.
All right, thank you for tuning in, sister. I got 7129-9451-5836-0139 and 9089, right there in that order. 7129. Okay, no, they didn't draw. Okay, 7129. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work he's done for our people. All right, they're just tuning in. Let's go. Oh, you know what? I got to go to my announcements. We're going to do it at 9:30, so we got 6 more minutes. So let's see if we can get 3 calls in the next 6 minutes, 5 minutes before we go to our call. Let's get real quick questions and answers. 9451, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and thank Brother Coakley for all the work he's done for our people. All right, let me go to 5836, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work he's done for our people.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Marcus Garvey. Long live the spirit of Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Steve Coakley for all the work he's done for our people. Who his spirit continue to live. I don't really have much to say, but this is a great show. That's all I wanted to say, Jeannie. And it's a great show. Your brothers out there in Baltimore. I call Baltimore my second home. I got much family out there. So, hey, I'm glad to hear there's some brothers, and I know some sisters for sure out there doing work for the people. So y'all just continue to do what y'all do and be strong.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Peace now.
Yes, sir. All right. We're going to take two more calls, and we're going to our commercial break. 0139, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all that he's done for us.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the work he's done. It's a great show, Brother Jeannie, your two guests, Brother Daren Muhammad and Brother Davis. You guys are dropping bombs on us. And we as African people got to understand that we're at a war. But war has casualties. And if we ain't willing to give our life for this, if you Africans out there listening to this show, you ain't willing to give your life for this, step your ass aside and let us real Africans put some funk in that ass. Y'all brothers take care.
All right, brother.
Give you a 48. Black Power.
Black Power. That's right. BB for Holy Yay, Black Power. One more call before our break. 09089, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, known for the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all that he's done for us.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to God. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. We thank Steve Coakley for all that he has done for our people. This is Brother Darrell, and I'm so pleased to have the two brothers on the show, Coakleyites. I'm a Coakleyiite. You know, I've traveled around with Steve. That's back in the 90s and the 2000s. I was a personal friend. And so to hear the acknowledgement is very moving, very necessary, because the information that these brothers have been spitting is right on point from the A to the Z. And Coakley always said that whenever there is a movement of black people, you got to watch the white people in the crowds. Don't look at the police. Don't worry about the media. Look at the white people that's assimilating, helping, holding up the signs. Because those be the homosexuals that be providing all the intel for everything that's going on the ground.
That's right.
Coakley was a firm teacher in being strategic and having the right solutions for the right problems. And to hear these brothers it's like listening to Coakley. You know, all the lectures that we used to do up on George Avenue and everywhere.
That's
so
right.
This has just really been just so pleasing, and I immediately reached out to all the brothers who, used to go see Coakley with me to listen, because we miss that brother. That brother, he had that other piece, and that's why we kind of gravitate towards Eugene, because he's kind of like Coakley. He has that other piece. That other piece we need. And all the Africans that's out there listening, definitely tap into some Steve and let him give you some of that knowledge, because he knew everything. It was just crazy. It was just absolutely amazing. He knew everything. So I appreciate you, brothers. I appreciate you, Jeannie, for the acknowledgement of Brother Steve. You know how I feel about him. We talk about him all the time.
Yes, sir.
And thank you. This is very beautiful, and I love all you brothers.
Love you, brother.
We love you back, dear brother.
That's a strong soldier there. That brother stepped in and is really doing some positive things. We're going to go to our commercial break right now at the 9:30 hour, and we're going to come right back with my brother. So hang on with me, brothers, and we'll be right back with you. Let my beautiful queen come on here and give us some announcements. Praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the outstanding work he's done for our people. How you doing, sweetheart?
Peace, brothers.
Peace.
Praise Nat.
Yes, sister.
Yes, indeed. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, and long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the work that he has done for us. Habib Fahodie, Straight Black Pride, Black Family. We just have several announcements to make for this evening. Number one, starting May 17th, Sunday, May 17th, the Straight Black Pride movement will be holding Straight Black Pride Sundays. This is going to be at Island Style Ice Cream. That's located at 3828 34th Street in Mount Rainier, Maryland. The zip code is 20712. You can contact Warren Horizon for more information. Again, that's going to be the Straight Black Pride Sundays. It starts May 17th at 3 p.m. This is something we'll be doing every Sunday. We'll be doing something either at this location or at another black business in the community. And again, the address is 3829 34th Street, Mount Rainier, Maryland, 20712. And again, you can contact War on the Horizon for more information. On June 13th in Chicago, Illinois, Irritated Genie will be making his premiere debut at the Culture Connection 360 Degrees. The title of this particular event is called Straight Black Pride, Organize, Unify, Build, and Fight. The location for Culture Connection 360 is 400 West 71st Street in Chicago, Illinois, 60621. This event is sponsored by the African Unification Group out of Chicago. And again, the date is June 13th in Chicago. The telephone number for more information is 708-248-4376. The event starts at 4 p.m., and the cost to attend is $13. You can purchase tickets on eventbrite.com. Again, that's June 13th in Chicago, and for more information, call 708-248-4376. That event, again, is brought to you by the African Unification Chapter in Chicago. The next event after that will be Sunday, June 28th in Harlem, New York. King Simon Family and Friends Productions presents the annual Father's and Family Day celebration. Black Family, this is going to be a celebration with 3 dynamic speakers. Of course, yours truly, the Irritated Genie, will be present. Baba James Smalls, as well as Dr. Ali Muhammad. This event is going to be held at the National Black Theater, which is located at 2031-33 on 5th Avenue in Harlem. Doors open at 2 p.m. Advance tickets are $20 or before 3 p.m. And then after 3 p.m. it's $30. Youth ages 0 to 17 years old are absolutely free. For more information regarding that, you can call 347-496-1022. Again, that's going to be Sunday, June 28th in Harlem, the annual Fathers and Family Day celebration at the National Black Theater. And again, for more information, call 347-496-1022. Black family, if you'd like to have War on Horizon come to your area, or the Irritated Genie come to your city to speak to your group about any of our topics, as well as Straight Black Pride movement, you can give us a call at 202-309-9106. Again, our number is 202-309-9106. Or you can email us at liberation@waronthehorizon.com. Again, our email is liberation@waronthehorizon.com. Habib Fahodie family, Straight Black Pride. If you'd like to get in for tonight's program, you have less than half an hour. You can call 347-850-1836. Again, the phone number is 347-850-1836. Straight Black Pride.
Straight Black Pride. All right. That's my wife. Don't nobody think you can touch it. You can't do it. But let me see. Let me go back. That's my wife. But let me see. We was at 0139. Let me see. We went to 9089. So we're going to come in here And as we rounding out this program, we ask you to make a quick question or comment, please, brother. Since there's so many people want to talk to my brother. We got 5204, then we go into 5402, then we go on 8633, then we go on 3497, 4858, 9461, and 9662. So we coming to you. Please, quick question or comment. Then our guest will give us a quick question or comment, and then we're going to keep moving on and get more folks on board. 5204, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the work he's done for us. All right. So 5402, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the work he's done for us. Okay. Let's see. Give me a moment. All right, let's go to 8633. Praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the work that he's done for us. All right. Let's go. Give me 8633. 3497, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work that he's done for us. All right. 4858, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the work that he's done for us. 9461. Praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work he's done for us. All right, let's go to, I think I just said 4858, I believe. Let me make sure I did that. Did I just say that? Let's see, 4858, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all he's done for us. All right, then let's go 9461, praise Nat Turner, glory to God. Oh, no, we already did that one. Let me go to 9662, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work he's done for us.
Can you hear me, my brother?
Yes, sir. Praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work he's done for us.
Yes, sir. I praise all those brothers at the great work that they have done. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
5983. Let me see, 5983. 5983, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother
Steve for
all the great work he's done for us.
Yes, sir, just listening.
All right, thanks for tuning in. All right, 0961, praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work he's done for us.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to God, long live the spirit of the Honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. And we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work that he's done for us. You had already given me a chance to speak, but I did have a question I wanted to find out. I was listening to another show, and they mentioned something about Black Knight Templars. Has any of that information come to Baltimore?
Brother David, you want to ask that?
I got to be honest. We're so bogged down with trying to keep that relevant here. Unless you can help me and update it to how it's germane to the subject tonight, I might not be able to really fill you in on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think I can speak on one question you'll be talking about, that the color green, when we saw the PSYOPs regarding Ebola. The gentleman in Texas was wearing a green shirt, when we saw the PSYOPs in South Carolina. A gentleman in South Carolina was wearing a green shirt, which is one of the colors of the Knights of Templar. That's what many people have been talking about. When you go back and look at that tape of Walter Scott, you see allegedly 8 shots fired, 5 shots hit him. But when he falls down, you see no blood on his shirt. Go back and look at that tape real good. When they roll him over, he's got on a green shirt, got a white T-shirt under the green T-shirt. You know, under the shirt. You see no blood on that white T-shirt. So there's a lot of questions as to whether that was real or whether that was a PSYOPs. Had a closed casket. And the question is why. He wasn't shot in the head. He wasn't unrecognizable. So a lot of times these are some PSYOPs that they're using to social engineer the people to further their agenda. So that's where the green has come in. There even was a picture that was circulating on the internet of Freddie Gray wearing a green striped T-shirt as well. So those are some of the questions that some of the people are asking. Could that be tied into, of course, the Knights of Templar, knowing the history of Knights of Templar in America and also, of course, here in a city such as Baltimore? So I think that's what the sister was alluding to regarding that. Okay. But we won't, spend a lot of time on that part.
Okay. Let me go to 8026. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work he's done for us. All right, let me go to 5950. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work he's done for us.
Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, and long live the spirit of Khalid Abdul Muhammad. I'm just chiming in, and thanks, Brother Steve, for everything he's done for us. But hey, Irritated Jenny, how you doing?
How you doing, sister?
I'm just chiming in and listening, so good job, and always listening.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in and supporting, and we appreciate you. We definitely see you on the battlefield, sister.
No doubt. Thanks.
All right. Habibi Fahodier, grab heaters with no delay. Let's see. We 1419. Praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey, long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work that he's done for us.
Well, thank you. I give honor and praise to Almighty God, and I give honor to all those brothers you just mentioned. I wanted Brother David and Brother Muhammad to touch on how the red, black, and green again has been.
Can you do me a favor? We had a vote some months ago, and the people voted me out. They said, people come in, we don't do it halfway. We do it all the way because these ancestors laid it down for us, and this is why we do One Horizon. So if you could say the greeting the way we do.
Well, I can't give praise to a man, brother, and I would not do that. I'll give praise to...
Understood. Really appreciate that, brother. 0139, praise Nat Turner, glory to Garvey. Long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and we thank Brother Steve Coakley for all the great work that he's done for us.
Hey, Brother Genie.
Yes, sir.
Hey, my dear brother. Now it is your show, and
yes.
If with all respect, might I be able to humbly acknowledge the fact that though I've been sitting here in silence, I am in complete agreement with that dear brother. Myself as an Israelite, I give all honor and praise to Almighty Yahweh as well as unto His Son Yahshua HaMashiach. But while we recognize the honor and the patronage that's praised to the brothers, is it really fair or safe to us to cut off some of our most revolutionary voices, you think?
I wouldn't care if an angel from the lights of the universe came down. This is a Warner Horizon program. These are the ancestors that we honor. And if a person chooses to speak, they do it or they bounce. That's how we do it here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we ain't come here to make no friends. We came here to save our race. And we appreciate our brothers and sisters. We just have the way we do stuff here in this house. So,
yes,
but look, let me say this. We're not going to all agree on everything. When I come into your house, I'm abide by the rules. That's just how you have to do. And that's one of our rules here. But look, we got 15 minutes. I want y'all brothers. And I'm glad, look, let me say, I really appreciate this. I'm glad you spoke that out because I don't want people to feel that because we got the way we do things, that they don't have the right to express the fact that they don't agree with that. You're a guest, and you always, with the knowledge you're bringing down here, as a guest, you'll always be able to come. Now, if you called in to give in a statement and you wouldn't say the greeting, I wouldn't be able to let you to come on and make the statement. But as a host, as a guest coming, you don't have to say that, and we will have you brothers back anytime, because what you've given us tonight, and I wouldn't say that it wasn't true, is invaluable to give us real perspective, not only on what's going on in Baltimore, but on how we can view what's going on in our cities and how we can see the picture so that we can do for ourselves. So I want y'all to understand, we appreciate everything that you're doing, and I want you to take this last 15 minutes for you brothers to kind of fill in and finish up in terms of whatever you want to tell us to help us understand what's going on in Baltimore, also how we can help what's going on in Baltimore, and lastly, how anybody that's interested in listening to your programs or reaching out to you brothers can get in contact with you as well.
Okay. Brother David, I'll let you begin, brother. Still there?
Let me see. He may have dropped. Let me see. I don't think he dropped because he may have dropped. Let me see if I can get him back.
Okay.
But if I can't, maybe if you let me see the number.
Yes, sir.
Give me one moment, bro. I'm trying to see the number because I might have him at the bottom.
Right.
Let's see.
And while we have while we're waiting on our brother.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Well, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So we'll extend the invitation for you, of course, brother, to come back and join us, but also to join me on my radio show. I have to extend that invitation to you publicly as well, if the schedule would allow. Saturday is good because I'm on for 2 hours on Saturday, so I just want to publicly extend that invitation to you as well. All right?
Well, I tell you what, you let me know which Saturday you want to do it, and brother, we're there.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, let me say to those that are watching and been seeing everything from the corporate-controlled news media that push views and call it news in terms of what's been going on in Baltimore, most of what, of course, they've been telling you, 99.9% of it is false, and 99% of what you've been seeing is a psyops that's been run on the citizens of Baltimore. As I said before, it's been run out of FEMA, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, and the White House. Again, all of this is pre-orchestrated, a preemptive strike since the death of Freddie Gray. And with the funeral on that day, the young people said there was going to be no demonstrations. Everything would take place, as you said, on Tuesday. But unbeknownst to the young people, the agent provocateurs and the military, with the world press being here, and this is why we've been saying, why would the world press, international press, national press, be in Baltimore for an ordinary young brother that's killed in Baltimore City? Because all of this was already pre-planned. So they had the press here, so they, again, sent out through either NSA, through either FEMA, through either the Craft, which is a military contracting company such as Blackwater, the text to the young people to say there was going to be a purge. Our young people don't even use the language purge. But the purge is from the movie The Purge, in which, of course, it occurred on March the 22nd, that number 223, or 223 backwards, which is, of course, Skull and Bones number, which is the order of death. But on that day in the movie, The Purge, they had the Purge 1 and then the Purge 2, Anarchy, in which you could kill anyone you wanted to kill for a 12-hour period from the sundown, 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. the next morning. So this was put out to our young people that there was going to be a purge. And then, of course, the police put out an announcement during the funeral that the Bloods and the Crips and the Black Guerrilla family had come together and were going to target police, which was a lie. But all of that was put out. And so when our young people were released from school, some released early from school, and they were let off by Mondawmin Mall, which is a major corridor or hub for bus transportation. All the buses were shut down. The young people were pulled off the buses by the police who were already there in riot gear. So they provoked our young people who were doing nothing but trying to get home. And so nobody has stopped and asked the question, what really went on? Nobody asked the head of MTA police, why did you shut down the transportation? Nobody asked the head of school police. Nobody asked the mayor, why did you do that? So those are questions that we still got to ask, because they can do it to our children today in this city and try to do it to other children in your city tomorrow. And then they took the picture of the black woman and said she was a hero, Toya Graham, because she went out and grabbed her young son and beat her son upside the head, which is classic how to make a slave, how to break a female and make her break her male offspring to eat out of the hands of the oppressor. So these are some classic images that they were sending out around the world in terms of what's been going on in Baltimore, not really going on in Baltimore. And, of course, there were the 20 fires And with all of the video cameras, closed circuit TV cameras in Baltimore, it's come out now that the FBI was flying planes over Baltimore City. We've had a blip that's been in the sky since the beginning of the year. They say it's been here doing mapping. It's a blip, a white blip that's been sitting in Baltimore. They were here last year and came back at the beginning of this year. Nobody's asked, what are they doing up there? What do they manipulate? We know about contrails, chemtrails that could affect the minds of the people and the minds of the children. That when you saw those children come out of the school, it wasn't normal what you saw in terms of those children. And nobody still has asked what was done to the children during school or before school. Nobody's asked where the young people get the bricks. They had bricks. They had backpacks. And some of you didn't even see with book bags. Nobody asked where they get those bricks from. So those are questions that we still have to ask to look at what was done on that particular day. And then, of course, the police attacked our young people. Our young people stood valiantly to fight back. And then, of course, everything went down to Pennsylvania North. And we had 20 fires, but nobody stopped to ask, where's the video cameras of anybody setting a fire? They showed you a videotape of somebody cutting a fire hose. Them hoses are made of steel. You can't cut a fire hose. But that's the image that they're trying to set out to set our young people up for the bigger, more suppressive force that they want to come with. So this is what we saw. We saw the mayor say she gave stand-down orders to the police department because they had provocateurs among our young people on the Saturday demonstration in front of Camden Yards. So she wanted this so that they can come in and impose, as they did, the state of emergency and bring in the National Guard. But as my brother David said, it showed our people the time that we have in order to deal with these wicked forces. It would take them at least 12 hours to 15 hours to put the National Guards into the cities. But our young people fought, and those that were fighting with our young people, in terms of, again, forcing them to have to go to that next level, which is what they ultimately wanted to go to, because this is classic problem, reaction, solution, as Rahm Emanuel talked about. Rahm Emanuel was a small hat. He was, of course, the head of the Israeli Mossad in North America and Barack Obama's chief of staff. But he said always use a crisis as an opportunity. So they wanted to use this crisis as an opportunity to push a bigger agenda. And this is what you saw, classic Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution, as Brother Steve Coakley has always talked about. So I want to yield there. So if my brother's back online, that he'll give an opportunity to close out. Of course, I'm on Monday, Thursdays, and Friday, WFBR 1590 AM. We stream on TuneIn, and I'm on Spreaker.com. I am on Facebook at Daren Muhammad, D-A-R-E-N, and State of the City, last name Muhammad, M-U-H-A-M-M-A-D. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and I'm accessible. So I want to yield so that my brother has some time, brother.
Actually, he didn't call back in, so
okay.
We gonna end it here. I'll let you go now. Let you know again. You let me know which Saturday you want to do it, and
yes,
we're available for you. Just give me a call. You got my information. I want to thank you, and please reach out to the brother and tell him we thank him as well. This has been, and look, I don't just throw this out there. I think our people will agree with me when I say this. This has been one of the most valuable, informative, and useful discussions that we have had on the program since we started. It's outstanding, and we don't want you to be a stranger to the station, my brother.
Promise I won't. When we come back, I got to go a little deep into the Freddie Gray case because there's been information that he had a lawsuit, which we know he did. He was a victim of lead paint poisoning against one of the largest Jewish slumlords in the city of Baltimore, gangster Jewish slumlord by the name of Stanley Rushkin. That hasn't been talked about. There's been information written at Media Takeout that he had a police brutality case against the police department as well. So he wasn't a stranger to the Baltimore City Police Department. But if he had this police brutality case, then the mayor would have had to sign off on it. The police chief would have had to sign off on it as well, and the city solicitor. And that means that the family lawyer, Billy Murphy, would have known about all of this information. So there's more to this story than what they've been telling us. And we're going to eventually continue to peel back these many layers and expose the layers as well as the players as well. But I want to thank you. Thank all the listeners that tuned in tonight, all the callers that called in, and again, shared their information, shared their love, shared their energy, and just continue to send us the synergy of energy here in Baltimore as we reciprocate that. But I want to thank my brother David Johnson. I want to thank the brother who called in, Brother David Wiggins, because as we go forward in this struggle, we're going to need everybody, brother, and that's what's important. Everybody, we're going to need all hands on deck right now. And so as we go forward with this, because we're at war, and so we got to be able to as you said, all hands on deck, all hands on the battlefield right now, brother. So just thank you, beautiful wife. Thank you, of course, and all of those who make War on the Horizon happen each and every week that you're on. And I just encourage every brother and sister that's out there listening to support you 1,000% with every, way, shape, or form that they can. I just say support this show. We need more shows like this, and you should be on every day to be able to give the information that you give to our people, brother. So just thank you, and I've always honored you, always admired you, always respect you, and as I praise you, I praise the spirit of the ancestors and of the Creator that's within you. So we should be able to praise the essence of the Creator and the ancestors that is in each and every one of us, is what I'm saying. All right?
All right.
So I thank you, brother. Again, go in peace. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Appreciate everything you've done. We'll be talking to you. And when you get the information about if he really had that case, if he was coming up for, a settlement or anything like that, that's really, once you've got the type of information we can do, we want to do another program so you can come back and drop the knowledge on us so we can really get a fuller idea of what went on in this situation. All right, my brother?
All right, my brother. Thanks again, Brother Irritated Genie, and to all of the family of War on the Rising. Peace.
Oh, peace. All right. That's our brother Daren Muhammad and our brother David Johnson, Sr. This is honestly, I was blown away by this program tonight, brothers and sisters. I want to remind everybody that listen tonight, we really need your support and help in terms of contributions so that we can keep doing this and then we can turn it up. We got to fight back, and believe me, we're in the process. I wouldn't tell you that if it wasn't the case. If you can afford to support us, you can support us at liberation@waronthehorizon.com. Send us an email. We'll tell you, get your information, automatic debit, so that we can, get the funds up so that we can do some of the great things that we plan to do, and we can do them with some more stealth. And I want to end by saying, I know some people were like, man, it was sad that we lost a brother on board, but I just got to be real. And I don't even want to say the brother was wrong in what he did. He believes in some stuff, and what we believe in is not, he wasn't conducive to what he was, so he had to let the phone go. There were other brothers that called up, felt like they had good spirits, they wanted to speak, but they couldn't bring themselves to say our salutation. I don't think we should be upset with them. If you come to my house, my wife got a rule. You got to take the shoes off. I was never like that, but now I'm like that because she made me like that. I kind of, you know how it is, a woman runs the house. But now when people come to the house, I tell them, you got to take off the shoes. I mean, ain't no if, ands, or buts, or maybe. You might not agree with that. It don't matter. My wife got her rule. So you take the shoes off. I mean, if you don't take the shoes off, I only have an option. I point you the other direction. It's just business. That's how it's done. And I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying Christians got their Jesus thing. The Israelites got their Jehovah thing. The Muslims got their Allah. And, I respect that. This is the War on the Horizon house. And I got to admit, I never looked at this, but we worship the prophets and killers like Nat Turner. We worship them. We love them with everything that exists. They are more God to us than any of the other things I just mentioned. We love our nation builders and those that give us inspiration in life, like the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We worship him. He's a God here, With all the mistakes they made, even if we say we didn't agree with this, that, and the other, that just means God did something we didn't agree with. But at the end of the day, these are gods to us. When we say Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, you can tell me everything in the world that he did wrong. I'm going to just add it up and say, well, we all fall short of the glory of Amen. But when it's all said and done, we worship him in the spirit of Amen. We get to Amen through the warlords and the killers like Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad here in this house. So if you can't do it the way we do it here, we love you. Stay on the line, don't say nothing. A lot of people, they want to talk, but they like, I can't say that Greek. Well, then you ain't getting in. There ain't no beef. It's just how we do it here. We not changing. I told y'all recently for the Mother's Day thing, I said a thing. I watched Dr. Collins. He said, hold the line. Y'all told me a long time ago, Jenny, man, you be letting people slide. I told you wasn't doing it no more, and I ain't making no exception. Either you don't do it, you don't come on now. Of an elder who might don't know what that means, I mean, it's just, maybe if Robert Mugabe, the Lion of Africa, came on here, we might make an adjustment or an exception to come. But you got to be somebody awfully special for any kind of consideration of an exception to be made, because this is a house of God. And in this house of God, which is a house of war, This is a house of war. We trying to save our race. We working to save our race. You do it our way or you hit the highway. You can stand by and listen idly, that's fine. But if you want to participate, I don't know why it will hurt nobody to praise Nat Turner. I don't understand that, but it ain't for me to understand. But if you can't praise Nat Turner, whatever your explanation is, I don't want to hear it because it's too way out there for me. That's like people saying how good it feels to smoke crack. I don't smoke crack, but I see people do stuff when they smoke crack that make me believe it must be pretty good, how it makes you feel. But I don't want to know what that is because I know what it feels to be clean without no dope in my system, and I want to stay just like I am right now. So whatever the reason you wouldn't praise a Nat Turner or give glory to all the work that Brother Garvey did, we wouldn't even be talking Black Talk if it wasn't for Garvey. If you can't give glory to Garvey, well, my hands are tied, Phil. We've reached out. I don't. If you can't say long live the spirit, you ain't say long live, but long. Here's the spirit. I mean, that means the essence, the fight. If you can't say long live the spirit of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, I don't know what beef you got with that killer. That's a warrior. That's a man that all of us today, particularly the young, if you 40 or under, and you were aware of this man when he was alive, secretly, quiet as kept. He's the man that all of us dream that we wish we could be. I'm going to say it again. We don't dream to be. We don't wish we could be. We dream, and in the dream, we sit there going, man, I wish I could be like Dr. Khalid. That's how we see him. And we say we long live his spirit. So, I mean, we got to do with every little piece of his spirit we can carry with us, we carry. If you can't handle that, I still love you. I still respect you. You just can't come in the house. So with that said, brothers and sisters, I know we've offended some people. I don't feel bad about it tonight, though. If I offended you, I might have had to do that. You got your religious rules. We got our religious rules here, too, at War on Horizon. We love and honor the ancestors that showed us the way. And since we at war, we raised them higher than we've ever raised them before. And we're going to keep them high, and we're going to set the standard, and you got to live by the standards. Live by the sword, die by the sword. Live by the standards here on War on the Horizon, or get the eject button. With that said, hey, I know it's hard. We hurt some feelings. Hey, we didn't come here to make no friends. We came here to save our race. We love you, and we'll see you on the battlefield. War on the Horizon. You gotta love.
Where you gonna run? Where you gonna hide?
today, where the Arabs have invaded and ruled. And our ancestor Khufu and Narma, who opened the first dynastic period, said there must be a 26th dynastic period. Only way to get there is for Africans from around the world who care about our people, who hate our enemies, are willing to kill and destroy to get there.